Hello, and welcome to the podcast. Hello, everybody, to the What Ya Watching podcast. I believe we're on episode 4. I can't believe it. It's episode 4. Why? We've done so many episodes already. But yes, today we're going to be talking about Severance. It is a TV show that was introduced to me by one of my close gamer friends, Miss Gamer Watch. She will be joining, and also I think her boyfriend is joining as well. And we're just going to be talking about the show. Like, this show is like really surreal, really like it makes you think. Okay, like it's one of those shows that like is futuristic and it's current. Like it's just it's an odd show and I love it. But yeah, if we're not familiar with Severance, I'm gonna play the trailer for it so you can get a gist of like what it is, and then we're going to chat about it, deep dive. I watched it 2 times. So I watched it the first time and I went through, I watched all episodes. Like there's like 8 episodes, 7 or 8 episodes. And it's one of those shows where like you can get like too much into the weeds of it and then like lose yourself. So I watched it again, more of like not binge, because I binged it and I was just like, what just happened? Like it, I was just like jaw dropped, like what happened? So I watched it again a second time to really like break down the episodes. But yeah, I don't know how many times they watched it. I know I watched 2 times. So we just go in and chat about it and all that stuff. So if you have Apple TV, check it out. I think season 2 is probably gonna come out next year. It got green light for one, so it's happening. All right, so let's watch the trailer. Let's watch the trailer. All right. Da, 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 da.
Every time you find yourself here, it's because you chose to come back. Hello, my name is Mark S. And I have, of my own free accord, elected to undergo the procedure known as severance. I give consent to sever my memories between my work life and my personal life.
Isn't this like yo? But this is how it is. Like we try to
I will be unable to
separate ourselves so hard,
on the severed floor.
and this TV show just like brings it makes it darker.
So, when I return home at the end of the day, I make these statements freely.
It is so creepy. And I love it. Hello, welcome on in to the podcast. This will be uploaded on Spotify after. So yes, welcome on in. Hello. I know you have watched it. I'm talking to a live audience, y'all. So if you are listening to this on Spotify and you're not part of the live, I am talking to the live. I know you've watched it before, Don. I like how they're using the song Daydream.
From work.
So, we're friends?
I'm your best friend. Nothing is what they say. I used to think it would take a monster to put someone in a place like that office. Especially
Hey,
if
the
the
missus is
person
coming in
was
just a
herself.
sec. Having an audio issue.
If you wanna
Okay,
know
thank
what's
you.
going on down
All
there,
right.
you'll find the beginning of a very long answer.
What's happening?
What is it we actually do here?
It's important your eyes be kind. Do
Do you know how to make your eyes kind?
You know how to make your eyes kind. Uh. All right, so that was the trailer. Um, it is on YouTube, so if you want to watch, I know I talked over it just to greet the live audience here today. Welcome on in, welcome on in. If you have watched Severance, that's a Severed, Lord, Severance. Um, Chat about it. Like, let me know what your favorite episode was. Um, what you thought about the ending. I'm gonna try not to be too spoiler heavy today. I'm gonna try to be not too spoiler heavy, but we are going to talk about it. So, if you haven't seen it, you want to see it, um, stay for the view. Very much appreciated, and you can indeed mute the stream, so you don't get too spoiled. But I highly recommend checking out the show. It is on Apple TV. It is like we already have Black Mirror, we have Upload. Um, I would even say like the Twilight Zone. Like this whole TV show could be like a Twilight Zone episode. Like it's that surreal, and it talks about what like how far do you go to like separate yourself from not only because there are people in the show that like the majority of the people in the show separate themselves from work and life. So that you have people who they sever themselves. That's what they call it. Sever themselves from work and personal life. And then you also meet people who sever themselves because there's a memories that they have of their life that they don't want to know about. I have a cat on my lap. Gotta get off the cat. Get the cat off my lap. Yes. Or they don't want to experience like I believe there was a lady, she severed herself because she didn't want to experience childbirth. So it's like, how far do you go to like separate yourself from things you don't want to confront? And then it's like at the end of the day, a lot of these characters they realize that it's not all good, like these people who are severed, the people who work, that's all is work. And those who are severed from the work memory and live in a personal, you think it's sunshine and rainbows for them, but they're also dealing with their own demons. So it's a really, really good show.
I concur. I'm sorry. I'm hearing that.
Yes, welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in.
How about me,
Yes,
a guest? Can you hear me? Can you hear
yes,
me
I
okay?
can. Yes, I can. I can't hear you. Welcome on in, gamer. Come on in.
My
Okay,
phone is
okay.
all right.
Yes, your mic is great. Welcome
Okay,
on in,
good.
Same
y'all.
mic, I'm broke.
We're, we're not broke. We're just utilizing a really good mic
Okay,
that
well,
picks up okay.
I can hear both of y'all pretty clear. So yeah, what is your so I was just telling the live audience that I had to watch it twice. Like I binge watched it and then I was like, what the freak? Like I literally was just like I wasn't confused, but I was just like I feel like I missed something. So I went and watched it again and then I was like, oh, okay, like this is a lot deeper than I thought it was when I first watched it. I don't know if y'all felt the same when y'all watched it.
Yeah, it's very deep. It's not a show that you would just give it one glance over and then call it a day. It has a lot of different aspects to the show that make you take a hard look at not only yourself, but what they're portraying in the show. Like a lot of deeper questions and things that you probably haven't thought about when it comes to your work life balance. And there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of hidden gems that when you pause it, you go, wait, hold up. Like maybe I should examine this a little bit more. And I think it's really hard to talk about this show without spoiling it because there are a lot of things that you find out that to me when you look back at some of the earlier episodes it starts to make sense. So if you want to keep it spoiler free, just let us know, and we'll try to
Oh
tailor
no,
our
we're
conversation.
gonna so we're going to definitely get into the weeds of this because it's just like it's so hard to like I don't even I was just saying that like we're gonna try to not be too spoiler heavy. Maybe we could just like maybe not talk about the ending so much, but like it's like you said, it's hard because like to talk about these characters, you gotta talk about what happened like the last episode, which is where I was like, oh shoot, like the huge. Excuse me, I'm drinking soda. The huge like cliffhanger, and it's like you kind of catch on to it as you're watching, but then like because I that was one of the points of the show where I was just like, okay, this is weird. I have to watch it again. Did I miss something? So apologies, y'all. We're gonna have to talk about this. So like I
You're
said,
gonna have to.
we got to talk about it. So if y'all have Apple TV and y'all want to watch it, y'all can still watch it, but there will be spoilers. We be spoiling. Oh yeah,
100%. That's why I'm like,
100%.
I heard you say it before, and I'm like, I
Like it's just it's
fucking
gonna be
avoid it.
too hard. It's gonna be
It's
too
gonna be
hard.
too hard.
Yes.
I definitely think it's still worth a watch, even with spoil. Like, obviously, don't spoil yourself if you don't have to. But it's a really fun show. Like, it's very enjoyable. It's introspective in a way that I super appreciate. TLDR, like, I'm pro Severance.
No,
So,
no.
yeah,
You
yeah. I
pro
mean,
Severance? Nah,
I'm
I
not.
can't
I'm
do
not
it.
pro what happens in this show, but if I was like working a normal job and they gave me this offer, I would take it. I finished the show. We also watched it multiple times, and I'm still that is.
So you would so or you would sever yourself like how the show is where like you have and okay we gotta talk about the spoilers. You will be an innie and an outie. You have
Well, maybe we could define what severance is in
yes.
case someone doesn't know, and then we could talk about it.
Like
Uh,
a dictionary.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
look it up.
we watched the trailer together to give the audience a gist of what it is. So basically, for those who did not watch the trailer with me, severance is a procedure that people in this TV show they go through where they sever their memories between their work life, and their personal self. So basically, once you're severed, your work memories or your what they call any stays working. They just work. All they know is work. They wake up, they work. They go to bed, they work. I don't even think they sleep. They kind of just like go into this like elevator, like think of the corporate office where we're looking at right now. We're looking at the corporate office. This is Lumen, which is the company that does the severance, and these individuals work there, and they, it's your I would say average work situation. You have your cubicles, you have work politics, but that's all you know. And then you have your Audi, which is the person who is they don't have to work. They kind of could just do whatever. They just like it's like being on vacation. They don't know what work is. That's all they do.
Yeah, it's like your consciousness is split between your work life and your personal life, and you don't have access
To
to
either
your
one.
work life or personal life memories when you're on the severed floor, and when you're in your Audi form, which is who you really are. You don't have access to your your work memories. So it's a complete separation, so that at least in the sense of how you could apply it today, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel you can't really achieve a work life balance, this is a way to kind of forcibly put it on you, because you won't even have to worry about feeling like you've been overworked, or feeling as if you can't easily achieve what you want, which is a delicate balance. You could just say, you know what, I don't even remember
Hmm.
it, and I could just live my life as if I didn't have to toil myself at work for 8 hours or more.
And
Hmm.
I am all for that, right?
But
Like,
but the thing
I
is,
100%.
it's like you lose yourself though because your work memory. Like I understand, like I do that. I do that in real life. Like I separate my work self
Mhm.
with my personal self. Like I am very, I've been some jobs don't allow you to do that, but I've been really like when I'm working, I'm working, And then when I'm not, I'm not. Like I don't think about work. Don't talk to me. Don't email me. Like I am not. I don't exist. Okay. And it gets to the point where like I keep my social life, like my digital social self, separate. Like I have my work self and I have my personal self. My work people, I don't unless we're like really close. Like we have to be like so close. Like we have had to maybe had a couple of drinks together, like, like you cool to get my Instagram, my Twitter, all that stuff. Like I know because once you start bringing that in, it's like, I've had situations where like I've had a manager who, we was on Instagram together, but she was still my manager. And it got confusing. So I separated. A lot of people can't. So maybe, for you, severance might be the way to go where like it forces you to be separate, forces you to just be like at work and then, at play. But you kind of lose yourself because you don't there's there's the memories, like maybe you had a good work day, like maybe you met someone that's amazing at work. I've known people who got married to their work coworkers. Like there's days you're missing when you do it completely like that. If that makes sense,
I don't have that harsh line. I don't think it's, I mean, for me, it's not possible, but there's also a deeper level to this. With Severance, you don't have access to your personal memories while at work. So
You
therefore, you
don't.
can't
Yep.
have this, you want to call it a blank slate. It's not really a blank slate, but at least you don't carry over anything that you're dealing with in your work life. So you could truly experience work and the people that you work with separate from all the things that are going on in your everyday life. So it's not really just creating that line, is taking that further and saying you don't even have to worry about all the things that you dealt with before you got here. Either you bumped your head, you had something tragic happen to you. You don't have to worry about those memories carrying over and have it in the back of your mind. You could go into work, be your best self, and then leave and then come back to your life and have that gap to not have to worry about the adulting that you have to do once you leave work.
And that's maybe why I'm so for it. So I do kind of separate myself in very much a similar way when I'm at work. And when I'm at work, I don't want to think about all the things I'm missing out on that I could be doing. I'm looking outside, there's sun, and I'm in here, and I'm in this desk. I want to throw everything. Forget that. I want to be separated enough that I can focus and be working as hard as I can. And then when I go home, I want to be so separated that I'm not worried about how I did at work. A lot easier because we already kind of make those separations little by little on our own out of caution, out of just not really wanting to socialize with people, especially at work, because you don't always have control over those relationships. Your job makes some of them. People losing their jobs takes those away. But who wants to deal with all that hassle? Who wants to, really?
Yeah, it's a lot of work politics too. Like I haven't been working for a while, but I know I've experienced like different type of work environments. I experienced an environment where like everyone's friendly and like, you can slide that over to like your personal, you might meet them on a weekend or something like that. But it's like there's some situations where you can't, where it's like you're gonna be thinking about work. It's like where it's just the stress. It's like stop the stress of if you're working in a high stress environment. When you get home, you need to de-stress and like have your peace. But a lot of the times, people aren't able to do that. They bring their work home with them, and they're constantly working, which introduces burnout. And I've been in those situations where like I've brought work home, especially now that we most of us are working from home still. So it's like it's even harder to separate your work with your personal when your work is at home, and it's like to be very disciplined because I have that line, and like I said, there's situations where a person might cross that line because they cool. Maybe we're work buddies, and we do yoga together on weekends. I don't mind doing that, but I just don't want to talk about work. And there's some people who just constantly talk about work, and it's like those are the ones where they might need a severance. They might need to get the
Work is
severance procedure because they
work is
can't.
eating their life.
Yeah, it's like they can't stop. And it's like it's workaholics. That's what it's called. It's called workaholics. They just work, even on the weekends. And I just don't understand. So I mean, I could see how you are pro severance. I just don't want to lose myself. Because like I said, maybe you had a good day at work, and it brings you joy when you leave the work. Let's say you severed, you leave the work, that joyness that you felt on that great work day is lost. You don't know what happened. But then you have to think about the work person. They're constantly working. Like
Excuse
that
me.
must be horrible.
And yeah, it is horrible. That's why I want nothing to do with it. It is
You would so
awful.
you wouldn't be the Audi.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm gonna be the Audi either way. Technically, I'm gonna go into it.
You
Probably
won't
also
have a
the Indy,
you won't be
but
able to conceptualize that there's a separate person that's
Yeah.
working
that's
because you
cool.
won't even be able to
You won't
connect
even
to the person
know.
underneath. But
That's
that person could
cool.
envy you.
You want to know what?
Yeah.
I want that guy to live his life. I want him to have a work life that I don't feel guilty about because I don't feel like I'm cheating on
So
my
you
real
want me
life.
to have a great work life, just like
I want
constantly great. Okay, I
I want him to
see.
have a great work life. I want him to have great friends. I want him to have like a cue ball, all
So
that
you
jazz.
wanted to live the life that you want to have? Like it doesn't
No,
make
I want
sense.
him to live the
Yeah.
life I have. I want to live the life I have out here.
Look,
He
all
doesn't have
work
to.
and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
He doesn't have to worry about sleeping and feeling like he's lost time, and he still gets to feel rested.
I
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
you.
I'm
I
not.
mean, I hear you. I just, I didn't understand, because in the show, the is, we won't get into that, but it's horrible. It's horrible for the. I just feel bad for the work person. Like they just constantly have to work, and then like, in the show, there's, I would say, two characters that really touched me, and that was I forgot his name, but he's in the is the God, the couple. Y'all remember their names? The two old dudes. One of them he got retired, but retiring basically means they put him down.
Oh, it's Bert. Bert is the one that retired. Irving is the older gentleman that ends up liking him.
Yeah. There, so like I was saying, you meet you meet there. I've had friends who've met someone at work and had this amazing relationship. They got kids and stuff, and it's like to have someone just leave. Like I think he just like he retired, and this was one of the points where I was like, what does retirement means for the severance people, for people who have severed? Do you think it's that they die, like they put them out the pasture?
Yes.
It's a harsh term.
So, but why can't I see? That's one thing I didn't understand, and I hope they break this down in season two. Is like, okay, so when someone retires, because realistically, I'm like, as an example, my mom is going to retire. She's retiring. That's basically a vacation. She's going on vacation for the rest of her life. Okay, she ain't got to work. She's gonna just live her best years. Okay, but in the show, it means that they die.
Yeah, they cease to be. They never wake up again. Like they go to sleep and they never wake up again. Not really die.
Well, the people that they interacted with and who they have come to be will no longer exist because their Audi would no longer have, well, no longer would not be able to know what they did in their work world. So it's just as if that person no longer needs to be around, and I go back to living my life without even acknowledging the fact that this any had friends, had feelings,
Yep.
accomplished a lot of things in their work life, or felt like they wanted to continue doing what they wanted to do or be a part of something bigger. I'm not giving them that option because I'm the Audi and I'm in control and I'm telling you that time to go,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's over. So technically it's like a death. Like I said, it's a harsh term, but in essence that's what's happening. You're
Mm-hmm.
basically cutting them out completely and they no longer have a life.
They no longer
That was gonna
exist.
happen sooner or later anyway, right? Gotta go.
But you think, but like the show had me thinking about like they're two people. Like even though they're one person, they're split in half when you think about it, because you have the work person who has, like Gamba said, a relationship. Like they have friends, they have a routine. Like well, happy is a strong word, but like they're living their life at work. And you have the person who is outside of the work, living their best life outside in the world. They have full control over the person that's inside of the workplace. Do you
Absolutely.
think that's fair?
Absolutely.
I don't
Really?
think that there's a way to prevent that from happening. Like, how is the innie going to control the Audi's world? Because both of them are in two separate planes. Now, I think it's one person, and it's just that your consciousness is now being like carted off somewhere else because they're putting this chip in your brain, and it's impacting, which I believe after doing a little research, I think it's impacting the hippocampus. So
Mm.
based on the location, if you kind of freeze frame one of the screens where they implant one of the severance chips in one of the new recruits, it feels like that's the general area that it is, and it's just impacting access to new memories that you're making in the work world. So it's really just you. It's just that you're just isolating a certain piece of you away from from who you are outside. So
From
I
the
don't think
realm.
it's two separate people, and
Mm.
I don't think that the innie can make decisions for the Audi. It's just that the innie is just another piece of you that you refuse to acknowledge, if
For
you
the
want to put it
neurologists
that
in the
way.
office, we are not qualified by any stretch of the imagination.
No, we're not. I'm not going to be doing any kind of brain surgery or
No, we are not
recommending
experts. We just
anything scientific
nah.
to back up my claim. I'm just saying that it from my limited research that I feel like it's that part of the brain that the severance procedure targets.
I am going to
Mm.
disagree a little bit about the lack of agency in any. That any is a person, and there can be dialogue in a in a situation where we're not going also through a rat bait crazy nonsense. That any he has some agency too. He can, hey, for example, take overtime, right? Keep me out in the office a little later instead of waking up at 5 8 p.m. when I'm supposed to leave. All of a sudden, I'm waking up at 7, I'm 8. He's a go getter. He wants to work a little harder. I'm
Mm.
coming out later. He has control. He can make decisions. His decisions are localized
At
to
work.
where he lives, which is so am I. I make decisions to my house. I don't walk into someone else's house and make decisions where they live. I make decisions where I live.
Yeah, I get that. Cause there is a part in the show where I believe it was Mark. He ends up like his Audi ends up having no, his innie ends up not sleeping well, like falling asleep in the office because his Audi stays up late. And
I don't remember
so
that. Where's that?
no, Mark
Is it
Epps.
Irving?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm saying the actor's name, Irvin. Yes, I said
Oh,
the
oh, sorry.
actor's name,
Oh,
Irvin. Yes. So his Audi is staying up late because okay, each character has like the like a storyline, like a huge. That's one of the parts where I had to like really understand like who was really who. So Irving, um, he's the one that lost his quote unquote wife, right?
oh no, no,
No,
okay.
that's smart.
That's
Let's
Mark. Oh,
Okay, so what I was asking you is for the person that said was falling asleep. I don't remember Mark falling asleep
it was
in the
so
office. That's why I said I thought maybe it was Irving because he was the one having
that
those weird
painting.
hallucinations. Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
the one that did the painting. No, so Mark lacked sleep because his Audi had pressed memories of his wife
Mm-hmm.
dying. So he was falling asleep as well in the office. I don't know if y'all caught that. He was nodding off in the office. And his Audi was keeping him up because he was drinking at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was suffering from something traumatic
He was drinking at
in his
night.
Audi
So
world.
his innie would be in the office nodding off a little. I don't know if he was hungover, but a little off. So your innie can affect your outie. And then, you mentioned Irvin. Irvin's another good example of how your innie can affect your outie or your outie can affect your innie. His outie was the painter. And this is the part where I was a little confused because the severance is supposed to be separate. No memory is supposed to go through, but it seemed like his memories were going through just a little bit, because his Audi was painting the hallways of the office.
Yeah, so to that point, because um, we picked this up as well. Do you know, without us saying it, do you know what he was painting? Do you have you put it together?
So that is the place where people go to work 24 hours, or they go to like just work forever slash basically die.
Well,
Ooh, no
I mean,
way.
that's what I thought. Cause like, I remember
Because the psychiatrist goes there.
the lady,
because we
his,
were we were thinking that it's the testing floor
oh
of the
no, it is,
office.
it's called the testing floor. But isn't it, is a place they describe it as a place where they never leave. They stay
Yeah,
there forever.
but the question is what happens on the testing floor?
It stays on
And
the testing floor. Like babies.
It stays on the testing floor. See, I might need to watch that again because I don't understand exactly what happens on the testing floor. I just got that they literally never leave, because the person who we see go down in a testing floor is Mark's wife, who, and here's, we really talking about spoilers right now, who he thought was dead, but she's not dead. She's actually working forever. Did y'all catch that?
a slightly different
So
interpretation of it.
Because she quote unquote did die.
I think, or I shouldn't say that, we think that
This is
maybe
deep
from
as
the
shit.
crash
Oh god. Yes.
that she was brain dead, not technically deceased either from bodily injuries like a head wound or being impaled by something or losing blood, maybe from the accident, because we don't know exactly what happened after the accident happened, just that she's no longer living. That maybe she was in the hospital brain dead, and they have developed a way, and we don't know how, because we saw them goats down there, and we don't know
Mm-hmm.
why the hell these baby goats are down there. But we think that maybe they found a way to access someone's memories because maybe not, sorry, not brain dead. I said the wrong word. Maybe she was in a coma and she wasn't out of the coma. So her brain is still actively working, and somehow they were able to use a severance procedure to allow her to exist. We don't know how, we don't know why it potentially makes sense, but that seems to be the plausible explanation that maybe she is technically still in a coma on the testing floor, but when
Mm,
she's awakened using the severance procedure, she comes down and she is the therapist.
that is deep.
Because I
I
feel like
thought
the
she
testing
was just
floor is like another form of torture because we think Irving is one of the early persons that went through the severance procedure, and he's
mm-hmm.
like more messed up than some of the newer ones. So there were probably things done to him that he is that's slowly bleeding through, or maybe his particular procedure is it wasn't as solid as some of the newer ones, the newer chips that they put
It's
in. So
degrading.
he's going through, yeah, he's basically going through a weird period where either his memories are bleeding together or he's somehow seeing some kind of effect from what happened to him on the testing floor. So it's like a big question mark for us, and we hope that the second season explains it.
I
But
do
we think it's
too.
a deeper meaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sex dungeon.
Oh my god.
I just like, I honestly like, so we talking about two characters so far, in a deeper way. Um, what do y'all think about the what's her face? Why?
We love Ellie.
I didn't get to her yet. I ain't get to Helly yet. I didn't get to her yet. She is the whole like she the climax person. She the climax person. Um, what do you think happened to oh my god, I forgot her name. The blonde chick. I forgot her name. My god, the actress. She was the boss. She was the boss lady.
Oh, this is
Miss Cobell.
this Cobra.
Yes, Covell. Yes, I'm really bad at character names. Just like, if y'all didn't know, I'm really bad. Like I would have to watch the TV show constantly to be like, oh, I know that
I know
person's
what you
name.
mean. I know that.
But yeah, she her outie was Mark's neighbor who was spying on him. Why do you think that was?
Now Miss Cobell's not severed.
Yeah,
She's
we don't
just
think
like,
she's severed at
Yeah, I
all.
don't think
just-
she's severed.
She is not at all.
Neither
no, yeah,
Mr.
we,
Milchek. Neither of them were severed.
Oh, see, I thought
just-
she was
that's why,
severed.
Yeah, that's why in the big climax, she's the one calling the people downstairs, telling them, "Oh, the big thing has happened. They've somehow broken all this
Oh,
bad defense."
oh, because she had gotten fired. Remember, she had gotten fired because of the
Because-
incident.
Yeah, somebody else. But yeah, she's not severed. I think she's just like
Ooh, your mic is
Monitoring.
loud.
Sorry, I wanted to turn it up to make sure that it was coming through.
Oh no, it's coming
she's
through.
just like a
Okay.
Gotta turn y'all down.
Okay.
she's just a. I think she's just trying to monitor everything, and she's being a bit of a micromanager, which is exactly the kind of person you get severed for. So your boss doesn't follow you home and check what you do in your home life to make sure those TPS reports are done on time. I left the office, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But as far as why she's monitoring Mark, I think I'm under the presumption that she's trying to discredit the concept of severance for one reason or another, right? Like between what she's doing with Mark and what they were investigating with Pete, the guy who gets fired in the beginning. It just seems like she's doing a lot of stuff to maybe discredit Severance because it would somehow get her some authority or push with the board or maybe even here, right? Because she did have that weird chapel in her house.
Shrine.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even
She
talk
loves
about the
herself.
shrine. We talk about like the lumen.
Glorious King,
Oh God.
Oh my God.
wonderful
I
King.
can't believe you memorized them things.
How did you even memorize that? Oh, that's so
I don't know.
creepy.
I like Rent. I like.
Oh my
These are all-
Well,
God.
thank you.
I am
More
so
is
good. So good. So good. Like,
So we were thinking that since we're kind of like jumping from topic to topic because it's just so interesting. Did you want to go in some kind of order so that
no, we
it
should
feels like
talk.
okay.
No, let's just
Alright.
talk. Let's just talk. Hey, like live audience, if y'all watching this, y'all got questions, please, ask away. I just honestly, it's one of those shows where like we just kind of just gotta talk about it. Like it's just I don't know. I don't even know which type of order we can go in. It's so much happened in the TV show. It's just like this. All right. So we was just talking about Miss Covell.
Patricia Arquette's character.
Yeah, that's her name. That's her name.
No,
Yes.
you can probably talk about
For real, I
reintegration.
thought she wanted to smash Mark in the first couple
Really?
I thought she wanted a young buck to get her groove back. She was a little too focused on this man. Maybe I have my own problems. I think the testing floor is a sex dungeon. I think she wants to bang Mark. I don't know. But
I mean,
Maybe
she
he's a
was
sacrificial lamb
spying
to
spying
kill.
on him.
she's walking into his house. She's making him cookies and tea all the
Yeah.
time. Come on.
Yeah, she was like
Come
way
on.
too nice to him.
She's like,
I
oh,
thought
my
it was
husband's dead. There
creepy.
hasn't been a man in this house for years.
I thought it was so weird.
I don't know.
No.
You think it?
Yeah, she
She
seemed a
seemed to
bit
take
off.
a real liking to him. We don't know if it's well, in his case he thinks it's sexual, but to his earlier point, I think it's because she thinks that something is wrong after what happened with Petey. After he suddenly just quit and come to find out they realize that he has been reintegrated, which is the idea of being unsevered. And I think she's concerned that because Petey and Mark were close, that he may try to contact him, and she potentially thinks that there is a way for Severance to be undone. And I think because she already knows that someone that he knows very personally works on the seventh floor that he doesn't even remember because he doesn't have access to personal memories. And she's trying to use him as the reason to explain, on top of what she does with Petey, to to explain to the board that Severance can be undone and we need to worry about that because she's all about the company. She is the brand. She loves Kier. She has a shrine. She knows the song. She knows the principles. She seems to embody this idea way too much about what it means to work for Lumen and how to live your life by it. So
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel like she has a different motive for wanting to be close to him. Whether it's a little bit of both, it could be. But I think it's more she has a particular plan and a agenda so that she can prove to the board what she feels in her heart of hearts is true.
Mm. Mm. That is deep. Damn, girl. Damn, girl. Like you, like I honestly, I can't
When I
wait
say
for
we like this
season
show,
two. I can't wait for season two so that they could like explore more of that. Because honestly, I didn't think it was sexual. I kind of thought that she was over controlling the situation. I didn't even know. I literally thought she was severed. I thought the person because she acted so well. Like she was very friendly. She was very close to Mark. Um, and like she had her own little story. She lost her husband and everything. Like they would have a tea and everything. Hanging out and whatnot. But then at work, she was at work. Like she was strict. She was the boss. She was at work. So I literally thought that she was severed. I didn't know that she wasn't, and that the whole take that she would eventually try to take over the business. I didn't think that. So your theory is very like wow, girl. Like they should
See,
really have this in schools. They should watch this like for
they
real. This
absolutely
is
should not be
deep.
watching this in schools.
This
Kids are gonna
no,
be
I mean
like, "Sign me
college.
up! I
Not
never want to
no,
learn
I mean I
again."
mean college, like psychology classes. This is
I can
really
see it being used in that kind of
I could
circumstance
see
too.
it too. I could see it too. Okay, so do y'all want to talk about Helly? Are we get to talk about Helly?
Yeah, she's cool. We like her.
You like Helly?
Helena, I hate.
Oh god.
Ellie is nice.
Oh
I think
god.
I think we could talk about what she represents because she started off as a firecracker, maybe hence the hair. I don't know if that's more imagery we could put out there, but she started off as a firecracker, and I feel like the story centralizes around her and her experience to then explain why everything else is kind of either falling to pieces in other people's eyes or
Mhm.
people are getting the clarity that they didn't think that they needed all this time. I think her story starts to impact Dylan, starts to impact Irving. People start to realize, what are we really doing here? What's the point of us doing what we do? Why
Yeah.
does it feel like we don't really know what we're doing and no one wants to tell us, and everyone wants us to bury our feelings, and then if we get out of line, we go into that break room where we
Oh
get
yeah. Oh my
broken.
god. We didn't even talk about that break room.
So we could talk about Helly and signifies to me what really is happening in the severed floor when she was introduced. So we don't have to go into the ending because we'll get there. But I found the beginning scene of the show very 1984. Being on
Really?
a, being on a
I did
table
too.
and hearing the voice of Big Brother.
I did
Oh
too.
wow.
Okay, so I'm glad
Fantastic
I'm glad you
quote.
said that. I'm glad you said that because I thought of it too because when you first watch the show, you're introduced to this character. She's on the screen right now. She's a redhead. Her name is Helly, slash Helen.
Or
And
Helly R.
yeah. Okay, so her name. Okay, we're not going to tell her name yet. Okay, she is introduced as your intro character. She is literally lying on this office table. Think of the
Mm-hmm.
conference room where everyone goes in for meetings. Everyone sits in a circle. It's kind of like you have your boss in the front. It was like the Knights of the Round Table, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You could think about it. So she's there. I thought of it as a coffin. I thought she was just like she was positioned in a way where like she got knocked out. Okay. And it was blurry and I was like, what is going on? And then I hear this voice and I thought 1984 too because they asked her who she was. They asked her does she remember like the states and stuff, where she is. They asked her all these questions and she couldn't answer. There was questions she blanked on. She got frustrated. She was confused. She was trying to escape. That is when when your innie wakes up. That is that's their first experience. They don't know anything that has to do with the outside world. All they know about is work. So she was able to answer like the basic questions, but not so much questions about like the outside world. And
Like who she is.
yeah, she didn't know who she was.
What
The
her
basic
name was,
question, yes,
what her mother's eyes looked like. The
yeah,
only answer she was able to give
was the state.
Which state. Oh, go ahead.
Admittedly, new employee orientation can be a little smoother than what's going on here.
Oh, God.
But when
Yeah,
you think, no,
go ahead,
go ahead.
sorry.
I was gonna say, but when you think about like when you start your first job, or you start a new job, you go through an orientation. Like it could go both. It could go either way. It could be a good orientation where you sit down and you meet other peers and y'all go through like 30, 60, 90 day integration into the company. You learn about the company, you learn about your role and all that stuff, right? It could be great, or they could just throw you in there.
I'm getting trauma just thinking about new orientation.
So like,
No.
I was seeing her orientation as like the bad one. They just kind of just threw her in there. They didn't
I've
like.
never had a good one.
They didn't explain what happened. Like she didn't even know she had went and done the procedure.
Yeah, the innie is completely unaware because there's no concept of the innie until you get the severance procedure. You is the full you. You experience life. Whatever you do, you remember it. You're able to access those memories. You talk to someone, you develop new friendships, you learn something new. You always are going to remember it unless something traumatic happens to your brain that doesn't allow you to go back and retrieve those memories. But in the innie, this is their first introduction to the world.
They're
as they see
newborn.
it.
They're a newborn. And
So maybe that's the position of you could say someone, waking up for
position?
the first time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we see her. She goes through what I would say the worst like reaction to Severance. You could say like she had an allergic reaction. It wasn't smooth for her. She wanted out like immediately. She kept trying to get her Audi to sign the agreement to be unsevered or whatever. I forgot what it's called exactly.
just
I know.
quitting.
She wanted to quit. She just wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Okay, she wanted to just quit. We could say she wanted to quit. And her Audi was like, "Nah, G, you're not gonna quit. Don't ask again."
I
And
got bills to pay, bro.
yeah. And it was kind of like she had her own this is why I was thinking of it as being two separate people, because they do have a conscience. So she was really like putting two together, like, okay, I'm here forever. I hate it here. I don't want to be here. I want to go. And you could say that's a lot of people, that's a lot, there's some people who hate their jobs. They work and they're just like, I hate this. Like, I want to leave. I'm going to resign. I'm putting my 2 weeks. She was putting her 2 weeks. Her Audi was like, no, you're not. So she took her own initiative and tried to, off herself. I don't want to say the word, but she tried to, unalive herself.
To send the message.
Yes,
Well, to speak
to
to the big
really,
man approach.
like if we could play this game. Basically, she would say, we could play this game. You don't want to listen to me? I got you. You gonna listen now? So she did that, and then that's when she ends up in the break room. And when you think about the break room, though, I like how they turned it around, though, because the break room is where people go to relax. You go to the break room, you get coffee, you can chit chat with your homies, or your work homies. You might read a book, you might listen to music, like you just chill out. That's where you go for a break, right?
Yeah.
In the show, the break room is literally where you are being punished.
Yeah, this is the Ministry of Love in 1984. The kind of
Yup.
opposite of
Yup.
what it
Good
actually does.
terminology. Good terminology. Yup.
Yeah, thanks to him. He's the one. He's a 1984 guy, and he's kind
You
of
like
rubbed that
1984
off on me.
too? Me too. Hey, it's my favorite book.
We saw the play
Saw it
on
on
Broadway.
You did too. Me
It's
too.
really good.
I
Oh,
saw
okay.
it too. Yeah, it's good. I got the movie too.
Oh,
We
okay.
are. There's not a single mentally well person in this chat.
No, we are not. I got a question. I got so many questions about myself right now. But yeah, so you go to the break room, and that's where you are basically punished. And then you're there until they let you out. So she ends up being like I would say, the leader of the rebellion.
You could put it like that, yeah.
Right? Like, she's supposed to the leader of the rebellion because, like Gamer says, she ends up enlightening the other coworkers. Everyone starts to be like, okay, I don't think this is normal. Like, we were happy here. You know, we went to work. They had dance classes. They were, I think they had they had activities. Knitting, I don't know. They had activities that they were
Well,
doing.
when they succeeded in refining the
Oh, they
the
get
data,
waffles.
they have different levels of
All I
Those
could think,
look like
all
good
I could
waffles.
think about is the
They're like
waffles.
good waffles.
I know. I could think about the
they
waffles.
have different levels of a reward. So and to keep them enticed to hit their numbers. So yes. But the waffle party, why he's making that noise is because it's not just waffles you're getting. You're getting
I
an
want to know
ensemble
why they had
of
like a
Sleep No More
midsummer dance
esque.
party.
Yo, and then it was kind of sexual though. It was kind of sexual.
They had
It was like a
actual
little,
cannibal Shia LaBeouf dancing around.
yeah, little tease, little strip tease going on. You hit the numbers.
He's running for
But
your life.
when you
I
think
will
about it though, that's how it is. Like, okay, so like I said, I haven't been, I'm
What is it,
cross y'all fingers, y'all. Cross your fingers that I get these jobs, okay? Because I've been busting my booty. But enough of me. As I said, I haven't been, in the workforce that long, but I know things haven't changed where like you have an incentive to hit those numbers. Like you go to the office and you do your best, right? You get that quota, you bring the company revenue, and then y'all have a party. Like it's always, either Friday drinks or you spend you give the company enough money to have like a holiday party, right? Or like summer activities, like
They
the
have
more
metrics to hit.
yeah, once you hit those metrics, you get incentives. You get these like amazing things. And that's basically what they do at Lumen. You hit your numbers, you get all these great things. You get to have I just keep thinking about waffles, but you get to have these amazing like different levels of enjoyment for hitting these numbers. And the Audi doesn't know. The Audi doesn't experience any of that. And
Exactly. Where's my waffle party?
yeah, like what if your Audi wanted waffles? They don't get to have no
Just make
waffles
your
and
waffles
no
on the stove or buy it. I mean,
and
that would be the Audi's
burlesque
contribution.
show, violin, nothing. Like you don't get none of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He can live a good life. If he's doing his job right, he's getting waffle parties with a weird BDSM kind of tilt. He gets the music mix experience. He's getting all this jazz. He might be putting overtime. He's like, I love it here. Kelly screwed it up for everybody. She's asking
She
questions
did.
nobody wanted the answers to.
Exactly.
She made them realize that maybe there's more to what they're doing. Because I think, to what he said, people were fine with what they were doing.
Before she
Irv
came.
was one of the older data refiners, has been there a while. He's not as fast as he used to be, and he has a lot of issues that people can't explain because the weird group that comes through it is his head. I don't know if he's like hallucinating, but he's having hallucinations.
He's all messed up.
Then you have Dylan, who's like the competitor there, who wants to kind of show off and
He's the
showboat and make it
overachiever.
look like yeah, he's the overachiever. He's doing what he needs to do. He has a bunch of finger traps. He talks about how he's going to get the waffle party. You have Mark S that's still kind of recovering, you could say, from whatever he's fighting on the outside world and trying to make his claim in the indie world. And he finds companionship in Petey, which was his best friend before he suddenly left. So I feel like there was a nice dynamic in the office about them understanding what they're doing, even though they didn't really understand fully the intent behind it. But they just said, we're here, we have a job, we go home, that's it. Helly is the one that disturbed all this and made them realize, maybe we don't need to be here. Like, I don't want to be here. Do you want to be here? Do you even know what you're doing? This
Mm-hmm.
sounds like BS. Like, why do you even believe anything that they're saying? She kind of caused that disruption and made them slowly believe that there is something bigger. It caused them to leave where they were. It made them want to explore, get out there, and figure out with other people. Well, maybe they are telling us lies. Maybe they are putting us against one another.
It's a little Adam and Eve,
Ooh,
isn't it?
right?
Mm,
You have
okay.
this you have this dude and he's living a pretty mundane life. Doesn't do no seriously. Like if you take these guys, they're living a mundane life. They do their jobs. They don't really care. Come in, go out, and they're more or less okay. A woman comes, shakes everything up. Pursuit of knowledge and all that is what it leads to, and then all of a sudden they're all cast out of Eden, and that's exactly
Oh,
what we
look
have
at
here.
that.
Yo, you a deepest y'all. See, man, I wasn't prepared for all this deepness.
You gotta be
Jeez,
prepared.
Granted, there's a little
yo,
too many men for Eve here.
you right?
But one of them isn't swinging for
Oh
chicks,
my
and
god.
the other one's married. So I guess it works out.
Oh my god. That's a good analogy though. That is a good analogy because she did disrupt Lumen. Like she disrupt everything that they had in there. And
Specifically
I
last
love how
night.
you I love how you Gamer said about them being against each other. So we didn't talk about the different floors or the different departments in
Mhm.
Lumen. So there's different departments in Lumen. The main focus of the show are the data people, but there are other floors, and apparently, I don't like. I think you guys figured this out, but they put them against each other. They make them separate themselves from other departments.
Yeah,
They
they don't encourage them speaking to
integration.
one another.
Yes.
Some of them
They
But when
tell them these tales about what
and it's
happened
like
in the
they are
past.
bad. There's like a
Yeah.
painting of like this war that happened between the different fractions, you can say.
Yeah.
And they are like, oh, I don't like this person because they work at X, Y, and Z. Like I don't associate myself. When you think when I heard got introduced to that part of the show, I started thinking about my career, like my experience. It was
Mhm.
totally different though. Like the places that I've worked at encourage integration, encourage you to mingle with other departments to know more, to explore things. And there were situations where like, you know, you might jump apartments. Like, you might be at finance and want to go to HR, like, cause you met someone there and they're amazing and they love their job. And you're like, okay, I would like to move over. There's a lot of that in the real world. I haven't experienced a situation where at the office that, oh, we don't like so and so's department because X, Y, and Z. Like that's never been a thing. Did y'all think that was weird that they did that? Do you think it was a deeper meaning? I thought it was because they were afraid of, more people, more like, because, you had Helen stirring up stuff, but it's like, if so and so was just handling goats or so and so was doing something that you wanted to do, you might it's like keeping them dumb, kind of. That's what I was thinking. It was like keeping them like,
Ignorant.
yeah, there we go, that's the word, keeping them ignorant. Did you think it was a deeper meaning to that?
I do think they're trying to keep them separate because a consolidated number of people is going to be a problem. They have one security guard. If the whole office got up and
We
said
only
we're
found
leaving,
that out after they killed. Oh, sorry. After
what
they-
in the
Damn.
world is that guy going to do? Give him the greatest billy club in the world. They're going to find him like festooned across
So
the
you
room
did.
like
So you
an
thought it
animal
was like
electrocuted.
they would rebel, because that's what I thought. I was like, once they figure out that there are other people, I mean, they know these people exist, but once they feel
They're
like,
unified.
yeah, they're gonna start unions. That's what they were trying to stop a union basically.
Yeah, they didn't want them
Bro.
to immobilize. They didn't want them to develop the self down there because they're not in control. The Audi's in control, and the Audi wants them there, and they want them to work and do what they need to do, and then leave. So there wasn't a need for them to really develop friendships outside of the people that they work with, because if they did, they would begin to start to piece together that maybe things are not as they seem.
But at the same time, I would also say that I've worked in places where there is that kind of natural division between departments. Like one department's work depends on the work of another department. And
Mm.
anytime we're slow on quota, well, it's not our fault. You got to get the guys at the regional district over there. They're the ones screwing up, and that's holding us back, right? So
I
we're
can
going
see.
to foist our responsibilities onto them. And who likes to be the guy foisted on? So now they hate us, we hate them, and we all come together and hate the guys in the mailroom. So
So I totally get that. Yeah, that because of some of the politics that happen in an office environment and some of the complications of either working in antiquated systems or processes, you kind of feel like you end up targeting another group because they're the ones force feeding you all these problems, and they seem to be not willing to help out, or they're like, well, it's not my problem, and now it becomes yours. So you could say to a degree that if your manager or management creates that space, that could potentially then lead you to feel like you shouldn't talk to these people, even though
Mm.
talking to them may help. Because in most cases that I've been in my work life, having that relationship, that interdepartment relationship helps
Mhm.
because seeing
Mhm.
someone's face, talking to them, getting to understand what they do, and you then learn how they interact with whatever you are giving to them or whatever they need to do with said part of the process. So if you understand what they do and they understand what you do,
You can
you
make
then
it
have
easier.
that understanding that if something was to go wrong, I know what it takes for you to get it done. So I'm going to be respectful of that before I just go straight to you and say I need help. I'm going to be thinking about what would it take, because I know that you're going to be the same one telling me that this is what I have to do. So if I have a better understanding as to how you can help me, then I could bridge that gap, talk to you, and then we could come to a better understanding versus just assuming it's not my fault, it becomes yours, and I walk away. That creates a lot of tension and negative
Mhm.
energy.
she's so
Yep.
wholesome, and
Oh,
that's
God.
why she sees it that way. Because when I think about understanding a job from another person in another department, she's like, and because of that, I can understand the limitations that person is dealing with
Yeah.
and why they're being slow. For me, I'm saying, since I know how to do his job, I know how much faster this could have been done, which means he's being a jerk for not doing
I
it
understand
faster,
that.
and now I matter at him, which
I
only
mean, there's
increases the
two.
division.
There's two stories though. There's two ways because I see both sides. I
I do too.
definitely would like to. I've always been interested in knowing what other people do. Like I know my position in the job. I know what I do my day to day. But it's like, how can I make your day to day a lot easier? Like I love collaboration, team working. Brainstorming with people, getting different ideas from them. um it's really for me an enjoyment of working. But there are situations where like I'll work with someone and I'm just like, I can do this. Like I is it like are you, it's like especially when it's a stressful work day and you're like, okay, is it like it's like, am I not explaining it better for you to understand so that you can get it done?
Hmm.
That's when I start to worry, like, maybe the communication, maybe I'm not communicating the best way that I can.
Hmm.
But I don't immediately, want to do their job because it's like, I don't want to mess with people's money like that.
I
You do your
understand.
job, but like I understand, I understand your situation where like you like, oh, I could do that person's job. I know why they're not meeting the quota. I know why they're holding us back. And the frustration, I understand that. But then it's like, I guess I'm very nice because then I'm like, how can let me meet you where you are. It's the type of the
Hmm.
person I am. Let me meet you where you are. I could break it down for you. I could, we could draw it out. Like if you need me to draw a diagram, I work with you. That's how I am. So I guess me and Game are very nice people because we're
I
willing
bet
to
you
work.
Emmy wears like brass knuckles to work and is just knocking people's blocks off. Because you're so nice up here, you have to be a psycho down there.
Really? You think my Innie is a psycho down there? Oh my
I think my
god.
enemy would have a harsh tongue. I think I would be very abrasive and maybe say what's more in my mind versus keeping it to myself because my experiences is what may have let me not say certain things if I get upset or if I'm annoyed. I think if I had a clean slate and I didn't have experiences that maybe led me to be more of a shy person, I probably would just tell you how I felt.
Oh my god. Y'all, so live audience. What do y'all think about this whole Severance thing? Put it in the chat, you know. Which y'all like with the as you know, by listening to us, you know, and getting a glimpse of the show, you know. I don't know if y'all watched it or not, but getting a little feel of what the show is about, in different areas that we have expressed so far. We've explored. Would y'all go through the severance procedure? Like I see comments in here. Someone saying this is crazy. This is Big Brother. This is insane. I feel y'all because when I watched it, I thought this is a very 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 deep show with a very very big like the plot the is very I keep saying surreal. That's the only word I can explain. Um, it really makes you think. It's very philosophical, I would say, as well when you think about the severance and all the characters and their stories and stuff. Um, the rebellion. So is there before we talk about that, is there anything y'all would like to talk about with the different characters? I feel like we covered the gist of the TV show. I don't think I mean I only watched it 2 times, so I didn't like get too deep into the weeds of the show. Um is there anything like we missed that y'all feel like we want to touch upon? Because I'm ready to talk about the whole like it's basically still gonna be talking about Helen because she is the climax of this TV show. Like she really is the shaker and the runner of this show.
I think the only other character I would want to talk about at this point before we just got into the gritty would probably just be Mr. Milchek. He's great.
You like
I
Mr. Belichick?
He's so
Aw.
very committed to his job and
Aw.
he's obviously trying either he's a spectacular actor or he's genuinely trying to enjoy
He is
this
drinking the
place.
Kool-Aid heavy.
He really
So,
is.
I
Oh, we
mean,
didn't
he
even
likes
talk
the
about the
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. We
In
didn't even
my
talk
I
about
know.
Kool-Aid.
I'm just saying
It's
that he's
delicious
sipping on the
Kool-Aid.
Kir Kool-Aid. He loves it. He embodies it. He is the company man.
Let
Yeah.
him be. He enjoys his job.
Yeah.
Or at least he's trying to. And other than the torture, he is he is trying his best to keep these people's spirits as uplifted as possible, right? He's the one who manages every single not unpleasant thing about their jobs. He's the guy who does the macro data refinement. Macro data. He's the one who does the music dance experience. He's the one who
Yeah.
organizes the waffle party.
Yeah.
He's the one who shows up. He's taking
He's
off his
HR.
pictures.
He's
He's
HR.
HR. And he's good at it. He's good at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I
he's
think
really
that
good at it.
There's two things I want to touch on that kind of links to that.
And he looks like he could throw hands if he had to. And the fact that he hasn't,
He do. Yeah.
he's got some muscles.
It's
The
really
fact
nice.
that he let a man tackle him and
It's
did
not
not
the
just
Kier way.
piece him up.
Violence is not the cure way.
He should have two-piece Dylan the moment.
Physical violence, I should say, is not the cure way.
But like you can't really fight at work. Fight at work is fired. That is why they do.
That's true.
You don't
That's true.
fight at
And
work.
that's his commitment. A grown bull
Yeah.
man tackled him to the ground and took a chunk out of his elbow. And he was just like, I can't punch him.
I don't know why I find that funny. It's kind of just like what I was telling him
I'll be more like Milchek.
the volleyball in Castaway. I just laugh like when the volleyball floats away.
Wilson?
I know it's a touching moment with Wilson, just like
Jesus
that
saves.
moment where Dylan just has reached his boiling point. He had enough, and he just bit the hell out of his arm and just tore. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm bleeding!" And he was just so surprised that it came to that. And I was just like, "Wow!" I thought it was funny. I want to say.
I worry about us. Just in case you're not worried about us.
So
Have to watch
the
the
thing
show.
I want to touch on before we go into the
The nitty
rebellion
gritty.
side
Yeah, yeah.
is the map. Because I feel like the map is the thing that PD left behind for him, and that's what Helly takes an interest in because she
Mm.
wants to know what's going on, but Mark seems to be resistant to it because he and Petey were slowly trying to figure that out, but once he left, and unfortunately once he was gone, he just wanted to put it out of his mind. He didn't even want to even think about it because it was just going to be something more traumatic, something to remind him of what he lost because he was really connected to him. And I feel like the map is very important because it was slowly piecing together on their floor because they can't go between floors without authorization. So they can't just get into the severed elevator and go somewhere else. They
Mm-hmm.
can only be on the floor that they're authorized to. So they were trying to create a map of where the other departments were on their floor. And PD seems to have gotten a decent way. There was a lot of things on the map that he didn't know, and there were questions. And I started looking at it, and I thought it looked like pathways, almost
Of the
like
brain.
the design to your brain. So I felt like maybe
Yep.
the show was using that imagery a little bit as well to kind of feel like they were showing it as different connected pathways. Different departments were interconnected in a way, but they don't know how they are. So I feel like that kind of imagery, looking at that map, is another way of building that idea that they're all interconnected, but they just don't know how. Almost like
Mm-hmm.
how we see the brain. Like we understand the basic idea of how it works, but we really don't understand how every aspect of it works. We have a decent understanding, but there's still a lot we don't know.
That
Yeah.
facility is the world's most complicated maze. All the walls are white.
Yo,
I don't
right?
understand how you even
And
find the bathroom.
with the blue
I would,
walls.
I would have walked out there. I said, you know what? Let me go find the optics and design people, and you just find me starved to death 3 days later in
But
some
like,
corner, completely lost. I don't understand how they get anywhere.
but the office. Okay, so like, okay, offices have changed. You know, post COVID. Okay, pre-COVID, you had I've worked at places where there was cubicles where you literally just like a line of people. We working, just a line of people in cubicles. Walls are white. AC is booming. Okay, and there's a psychological reason for that. I feel like y'all know this, but it's kind of like when you go to a casino. They have the AC running. They have, the drinks pouring. They have the slot machines lined up, and you are just they it's literally just there for you to be focused on the jackpot, whatever that is, the spin thing. Yeah, I don't know what that's called.
Mhm.
Um, it's just for you to focus on that and spend your money, right? When you're at the office, though, there are cubicles. There are places that have cubicles, and a lot of places have changed this way of working. But it's literally there for you to pump work. You should just work, 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 work. It's not really a place for individuality. You have your work clothes. You just sit at your desk. You work. That's back in the days. Now you get these offices where there's an open floor plan. There's light undressing. They got stuff on the walls and stuff. It's more homey. It's really supposed to, and it's because of COVID. It's to get people back into the office. They create this environment where it's very welcoming, and you want to go there. You want to they have pizza on Fridays. They got a snack room. They got ever flowing coffee. You want to be there. You want to go to work. You want to be productive, right? At Lumen, though, you have the old way of working where everything, the walls are white, blue. Everyone is dressed up in their working clothes. They just work as they are. They sit in cubicles and they pump out work. That's all they do. Um, I saw it as like these, unless y'all think of this a different way, but I was thinking of this as like they want to keep them there as working bees, okay, until Helen got there, and um, they don't want them to have individuality. Um, it's like the worst working environment you could think of. Did y'all see that, or
Yeah,
just me?
absolutely.
Like they kept it that way. They didn't bring any like spark. Like I know the people decorate their cubicles and stuff like that, but oh my god, we didn't even talk about. Okay, so I feel like I'm jumping. But they didn't have like any individuality. They kind of was just like everyone was just like a clone of each person. um they didn't have any like personality, in my opinion. um and I want to talk about the computers. Did I notice that the computers were old too? No, the
Those are
computers
the
were old.
clunkiest. I think bees is actually a really good analogy for that
Yeah.
because you're right. They don't have their individuality, with the exception of Mark. Nobody has a personal picture. They get like a pencil erasers and
Mm-hmm.
some
No,
There's
they have
no one's
knickknacks,
maximum.
decorating the cubicles, like literally
which
nothing. Like they just exist.
they yeah, and that's exactly the point. You don't. The whole point of Severance is to remove their individuality. You don't want people coming in with their own ideas and personalities. They have a very specific task. I don't need your ingenuity. I need your ability to press X on the keyboard and follow the directions till it's done. It's 5 o'clock. Go home.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just find those numbers
The
that make
scary
you,
ones.
yeah, the scary ones,
Yep.
and then put them in a bin. A bin, like is that what you were gonna go? Like what they're actually doing on the computer, or just the aesthetic?
Well, that too. The aesthetic, I thought of it was because Lumen is such a big corporation. Um, like it's when you think about TV show or movie corporations, why are they always so just so uh so creepy? So
Monochromatic.
yeah, just like there's not one corporation in a TV show that's like really they have a their agenda is not hunted by something.
Well,
Um,
when you say corporation in television shows nowadays, there's like a CEO who's twisting the head off of baby dolls because he's just a lunatic trying to destroy the world and take it over. Um,
but
uh,
I thought of Lumen. Well, since Lumen is a big corporation, I thought they had the old computers and the basic data work. Because they didn't want anybody to know their secrets. They didn't want anybody to know what they're doing back there. Did you
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
think about
I
I was
that?
also
thinking
think
that the
there's
old computers was just a way of making it very clear that their intent is whatever's on the screen. There isn't anything else to distract them. There isn't another application, anything that they could access outside world. It's just exactly what they're meant to do, and older computers were just programmed for that only.
yeah, the machine is purpose built. They don't want to give you
Yeah.
like a MacBook Pro because it's got all these
Mm-hmm.
bells and whistles. It's
Even though it is
They
shiny.
don't want you.
Apple.
They
It's
don't want
going
you
to
to be
stimulate.
on Facebook,
Yeah.
Spotify,
Exactly. It's
and
going
your
to have
and your
all kinds of
email
juice.
at the same time. They want you to just be at
Yeah.
work.
You're
No
going to
Yeah,
outside
explore.
influences. Yeah.
yeah. It's this the
A
going back to
blend.
my analogy of being working as worker bees. Like no individuality. Like everything is just structured. Um, and you just there to work. You just there to worship Lumen.
Glorious care.
More here, but I don't know. I have a difference of opinion. I feel like they are individuals.
Wonderful care.
Because when they go around in that game introducing themselves, they say, I'm Mark S, I'm Helly R. Uh, I feel like they want them to understand who they are. Once they develop that sense of self being in the severed floor, but I don't think they want that to go any further to say, well, what do I want to find out outside of this? Is there something more? I feel like they're fine with you developing who you are because you don't know who you are when you first severed. So they want you to establish that I'm this
Mm.
person. They want you to develop habits, things that you like, being in the office, so that at least it keeps you motivated. It makes you connected to your coworkers, but they don't want it anything beyond that. They don't want you to think that, well, now that I've developed these relationships, what about the outside world? And then they tell you, well, everything on the outside is bad. You don't have to worry about it. Nothing. Death is not here. You don't have to worry about it. Those other departments, forget about it. They offed a bunch of people. They're They're devious. Don't worry about them. So they try to contain them in this bubble as much as possible to keep them within their own world and feeling comfortable with themselves, so that they don't think they have to out reach out and touch other people to gain some more sense of self. I think they want them to just establish themselves in macro data refinement, micro data refinement with their peers, and that's it. So I feel like there is a sense of individuality, but it's restricted very much so that it's controlled. So if it's not individuality, I don't know what else to call it.
You
I
see, I
yeah.
feel like they want them to develop, but if they're restricting the path they can develop on so much, what are the odds that they actually wind up different? Like they do that game, but they also make them describe obvious stuff. It's like, hi, this is Helly. She's a woman whose hair touches her shoulders. It's not like they're like, she likes
But didn't he say
books
that
and reading.
he's allergic to something?
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's just like on your medical card. That's not your personality.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
allergic
not
to these things and my hair touches
individuality,
my
in my
shoulders.
opinion. Like I would have to say Game of Saudi, but I don't think they have any individuality. I don't think they have any personality at all. I just think they're just there to work and exist to work. Because when you do the
Ellie's got a
orientation
personality. She's out here
thing,
kicking and screaming.
when you when
Yeah,
you
the
do
first
your
question they ask you
orientation
is, "Who
thing,
are you?" So I feel like
but like they
that's
don't know
the
who they
introduction.
are though. Because when you say,
Exactly.
okay, when
They're
someone
confirming their
asks
personality
you who
strong.
you are, right? Because everyone's done this. I would hope to do this at my new job. Cross fingers. And they ask you, tell me about yourself. It's the number one question that interviewers ask. Tell me about yourself, right? And you could go either way. You could talk about your career. You could talk about, related hobbies to your career, right? But then when you get the job and they ask you, hey, gamer, they tell me about yourself. You're gonna go into your hobbies. You're gonna go into what you like to do because you want your coworkers, to get to know you more. You know, you work with them, yes, but you want to find some type of commonality. Maybe they like video games like you do. You like video games, they like video games. Oh snap! I play the same game. Oh wow, we bonding. You don't get to. They don't get to have that at Lumen. The indies don't get to have that because they don't have any type of like hobby. There's no personality. There's no like, yes, there's a, she's learned to bee stings and everything, but that's not a personal trait. It's like, does she like to read about bees? Or is she interested in bees? That could be more of like a personal, like, that's her personality. She likes bugs. We can't check that off for any of them. We just know that they go to the office, they work. We don't know their favorite color. We don't know, what TV shows they like to watch. None of that because they don't get to experience any of that. You see
That
what I
I
mean?
understand. I was just coming from the perspective that they seem to treat them as individuals because they're given a name, even if it's abbreviated. They're not identified by a number or macro
Mm,
data refinement person number three.
I can
If they
see.
were to do a wellness check, there was a part of the wellness check with Irving where she was describing that these are positive qualities about your Audi, and they wanted him to have the same feelings about each of the comments. He couldn't like one comment over the other, and they were describing different things that his Audi liked to do. So I feel like they were encouraging a sense of self, but it was still in a way that was restrictive because they didn't want you to favor one trait over the other. They didn't want you to question or look further into something outside of what they were telling you. So I feel like they were willing to establish who you are. They were trying to build your any profile to the
Mm,
extent that they wanted you to see it, and then that's it. So I feel like there's some concept of self, even if it's not considered an individuality, because you could say that there should be an aspect of freedom there, but or free will, because they don't really have that. So maybe
mm,
they just are trying to develop a sense of self because it's important for the any to understand who they are within their department, but that's it. I
I
think that
I
that's
think
what
the
they're
issue
trying to
there is
achieve.
kind of like how do you have a self without preference? Like I can say, like in that example, they say
But you could exist without things, right?
you can exist
Uh,
without things, sure,
I mean, yeah, but like that's
but
that's
I'm
a
not
harsh way
a
to
self,
exist. Yeah,
you
there's
know?
no type of like
You hook
yourself,
a
you
human
know.
into orbit and you never expose them to anything. He's not going to be like, I love anime. He's never seen it.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just saying that the sense
I
of
like
self
stars.
is not the association to things.
But like it's exactly that. They're
Mm.
kind of numbing his ability to create a self because they're saying you're a good swimmer, you're a
No,
good
your
person,
Audi is a good
your Audi
swimmer.
is all of these things. And then when he laughs at one compared to the other, they say you're not allowed to have a preference. You need to enjoy all of these things equally,
Yeah.
which means you don't go, I like burgers and fries, but I prefer burgers because that would be a preference. That's your difference. That's your uniqueness. They're like, no, you need to like burgers and fries exactly the same. And if you don't, you're going to the break room.
Yeah, but I just don't think that's a good way to exist. Like this piece is so boring, you know? Like yes, they know that their Audi does X, Y, and Z, but it's like they would never. Like I would get envious. Like if like my Indy would be I think I would be Helly. I would be stirring up a lot of stuff. I'd be like, listen, I got
You got those
questions.
brass knuckles.
Yeah, I
Okay, so
got
maybe
questions.
they want them to feel more connected to their Audi in a way
But
that would
do
make
but
them.
do they like? Would you feel connected to your Audi if you know your Audi was eating sushi, going to yoga, taking swim classes, having sex? Like there are
Well,
things
they don't get
that
to experience that, and the question is, do they even
want
want
to.
or desire that? But I
Mm.
think
Everything
in
does.
the area where they're putting the severance chip, it does impact sex drive. It does impact your memories and amongst other things. So I feel like all of that is still there. That's why they reference someone got pregnant, a former coworker got pregnant and is no longer working there. So there is something that can happen where they can become too connected and take it a little bit too far. I was just trying to figure out what the why they needed to do a wellness check if there was no if they didn't want to improve upon the self. So I was just thinking
Mm.
maybe they wanted to make them believe that their Audi is rooting for them, that they should be equally as happy as their Audi is because their Audi is happy, so they should be happy as well. I don't think
Mm.
they want to ignore who they are, because if they do, it could impact their ability to work. They still want to feel as if there's a purpose here, because if they don't understand why they're here and they're fighting that, then they're not going to want to stay. I think Helly is the one that exhibited that clearly, that she
Yep.
was fighting from the beginning, and she still didn't get over it, but it had to take a lot of constant reminding that you're not going anywhere. You have to make the best of it, and this is what your life is going to be like, and you have to accept it. And I have a feeling that because she didn't come into the experience burdened with any problems or outside interferences that would push her here. The reason why I'm here is because there's a reason that I want to forget something. I want to separate my life because there's something going on that I don't want to have to be reminded of when I'm here. She didn't come
Mm.
with those experiences, so she had a clear head from the beginning, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't see how messed up this is. It sounds like you're in a cult and you don't know you're in a cult, but I know from the jump, and I'm telling you, like, you need to get out." And I
Yep.
know in a cult they don't want you to have an individual self. They want you to blend in like a hive mind. But I feel like
Yes.
they do want some kind of connection to the Audi, because they realize it's important to establish that so that they understand why they're here, so that they don't constantly question why the Audi put them there. So that's what I'm saying. I agree to what you're saying to a degree, but I still think there is some concept of self.
Mm. Okay, okay, I can see this. I can see this, and you can still have your like a self. You can still have, like you said, it's limited self when you're, in a situation like, when you think about religion or a cult, when they have like strict rules, strict like ways of like dress and like just, there's certain foods you can't eat. Like there's a
Mhm.
lot of things that like is structured, right? But you still can have some sort of individuality to express yourself. So I do agree with you said. I do agree with
Okay.
you. Because I've seen it. We've all seen it. There's ways you can express your true self, and make yourself different than, the person, next to you that's in the same situation. You just call Lumen a cult though. They like, okay, when we think about
I don't know if
workplaces,
the company is, but their love affair with Kier and
it's a
using those principles to tell these innies that this is
it's very
what
cult
they need
like.
to pull from and exhibit. Yeah, that's very cult like.
I
Very
don't know why
cult
y'all hating
like.
around my boy Kier. You ain't seen him do nothing.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking that the whole, like, I knew they were worshiping the CEO, right? The CEO was treated as like a deity.
All
Very like,
the Kiers are like one. Like even though there's been different Kiers, female and male, they're all identified as this figure, this guiding figure. So they're
yep.
not the Kier, but there have been other CEOs to your point that have taken over that have exhibited the same qualities and continued his original vision.
Yeah, and they're seen as like someone who you look up to. They look up to them. They I would say worship. They worship
Hmm.
the person, and I thought of that too. I thought about how you know the CEOs at companies are really like, we love them. Oh my god, like they're amazing. Da, da, da. Like I've experienced it. I had many CEOs where I was just like, oh, they're amazing. Like, they got a Twitter account, we following, we in there, there people have done it in real life. People have really been obsessed with the either the company itself. When you think about companies having merch, they have like, when you go into office, everyone's wearing a hoodie. There is a type of like worship upon it, especially when you are at the place in the innies, you know, they're there 24/7. They never leave. So it's like they are like, all they know is this person. They don't see any other like any other way of worshiping. They could like ice cream and worship the ice cream man. They don't see anything like that. They only think of this person.
Hmm.
And to me, it was very creepy. I'm not gonna lie, it was very creepy.
The
How
perpetuity
realistic,
wing.
huh?
The perpetuity wing.
Yeah, very very creepy to me. Um, I immediately, especially like the what's her face, shrine. I just thought of Helen and Hey Arnold, how she had a shrine in her closet. That like stuff like that kind of creeps me out just a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what y'all thought about it, but very cult like activity was happening. Um, and it's like they were basically saying like, you are happy here. Like the drinking the Kool-Aid. Going back to you mentioning how they drink the Kool-Aid, they was drinking the Kool-Aid. You're very happy here. You know, do you don't want to leave? You gotta stay. Type of mentality with the whole like company, the whole Lumen. Um, I don't know if y'all thought of it that way. I certainly did.
It
I
was a way of
know
life.
Miss Cobell has a massager with Kier written on it.
Oh
I know
God,
it.
a personal
Oh
massager.
yes.
No, see that's so creepy. Just
I feel like it
worshiping
was a way of
someone.
life they were selling because there was a Kier Bible.
Yeah,
Irving
Oh my
Irving had
god.
a
he
copy of it.
he was literally God to them.
Hmm.
When you think of it, like going back to, I said deity, like they worship this, that they worshiped him,
Yeah.
and that's all they, Then this goes back to individuality as well. Like there's different religions, there's different ways people worship, there's different, celebrities people love. We all have individuals. You might like Lady Gaga, I might not. You might be Muslim, I might not. But we still have our different individuality. They did not, and that's the creepy part of it. Like
Mhm.
you said, you want to be severed, JK. You say you want to be severed, but
Absolutely.
I don't think I want to, because I don't want to lose my individuality, even though you're saying that, your Audi is you, but it's like,
But you're
is it
not really.
really?
But you're not really losing it. You just lose. If you want to say you're losing something, you're just creating a space that you're never going to be able to access because you don't care to access it. You're saying there's one part
Mm.
of my life in the work world that I don't even want to even include in my real life. It's a part of my life that I'm willing to let go. So if you think that that's losing yourself, then you wouldn't want severance because there's a part of you that you would never know.
I think it uh
Mm.
outside of just being like ridiculous and exaggerated, I think for people who would consider something like this, it varies depending on how much of yourself you actually do bring to your job in the first place. Because
Mm.
if you're already that kind of person who just shows to work, face directly into your keyboard and you don't really engage any more than you have to, and it's not because you're like antisocial or mean, it's just you don't want to. You've made that conscious decision to not spend energy at work doing anything other than work. If you already separated yourself in that way, severance wouldn't feel any different from what you're already doing, except you wouldn't be sitting in your desk doing your job for 8 hours. You would clock in and clock out.
And for me, I
Gotcha.
have a different perspective. I've come to understand how it is to live in the extroverted world, being an introvert, and I understand the value of work relationships because unfortunately
Yeah.
if you're looking to either have some kind of career advancement or move through different departments, it comes down to people liking you. And I know that that's not the best thing that people want to hear because you would think, well, I should be able to show and prove my talents through my actions. But you may be good at your job, but if someone doesn't like you, they're not going to think of you first for a promotion or
Yep.
think of you for a potential job offer if they're looking for someone internally to move up. So I've dealt with that in my company through those particular office politics. I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but I feel that being likable is an important characteristic in your work life, especially if you have aspirations to move up. So
Mhm.
you have to make sure that personality wise, you're personable because there could be a potential if you move up that you have to manage someone. And if you are not building those skills, you won't have those skills when you're a manager. There are many managers I've seen that are good at their job, but they don't have the best people skills. So when it comes to managing people, they're not really the best at it. You need to be really well rounded, working with other people and also having people report to you. So I'm trying to build those qualities now while I have the opportunity. And I think it's important to have in your work life and your personal life because it just helps you meet new people and slightly open up. I was a closed book and it was very hard to open up and talk to people because I feel like I couldn't connect with them. But eventually, I found ways to show a little bit of my personality without exposing everything.
Mhm.
And I've gotten better at talking to people that I don't know, thinking of things to say, pulling on certain things that they talk about so we could expand on it. Sometimes you find things that are common between both of you. So you go, oh, you do that as well. So
Mhm. Mhm.
you kind of are able to tap into that by talking to someone, and I feel like you're only going to be able to do that by doing it. You can't really read something and lead you to the same conclusion that, okay, I know how to meet someone new and talk to them, and at the end of the day have them look at me as a likable person. You have to actually do it, especially if it's not innate, and for me it's not. So I have to turn it on. I have to remember, okay, going to a work event, I'm going to have to be present and alert. I can't be in my shell. So I feel
Mhm.
like doing that constantly has helped me in my work life, and I feel like it's bettered my own self because it's allowed me to meet new people and build friendships in a way that I haven't seen, like meeting you. I don't think that if I worked in the same way to become better at it, that I may not have had the opportunity to talk to you and do something like this. So I think it's important that if you think it's an important thing for you as a person, then you can do it. But if you don't really care to have friendships at work, that's also fine. It's just that if you have aspirations to do more, it's something that you have to consider.
Yeah, I agree with you. I see that's why I just don't see myself going through the whole severance process because I like yes, I do have that line between work and life. I have a work life balance. But there are situations where like, I'm a very extroverted. I like to be in the weeds with people. I like to hang out, So if I find someone at work that I could kick it with and it makes working at 9 to 5 bearable and makes it fun, makes it go by fast. We're very productive. We getting stuff done. I love going to work. Like I love those situations. I love those places of work where it doesn't feel like you're at work. Where you're hanging out, you're getting work done, you're talking with your peers, you're collaborating, like you have so many ideas. You find out that they play video games too. You find out that they like horror movies and all this good stuff. And you're just like, damn, like I would never met you if I didn't take this position. Like I love those experiences. And it's like yes, your Indy is having a grand old time at work. Like, she's chilling, she's doing all this stuff, but it's like, what if your Audi is a cold person? Like, what if your Audi is just because there's a lot of people in a TV show that have problems, like their Audi just has issues, and it's like your Indy is having the time of their life and they're very personable, but your Audi is not. Your Audi is closed. Their Audi stays in the house. Your Audi doesn't go out. Your Audi is suffering from Stockholm. Like it's stuff, the alcoholism. There's a lot of things that can be better if they were to merge. It's like the best parts of you could be on one side of your consciousness. And that's where I was like, this show is deep because a lot of times is we don't know which type of consciousness we would have if this was real. Like what if your person at work is the opposite? What if your person at work is crazy and they just are not the best coworker? Because we've had coworkers where you like, I don't like her, like I stay away from her, she don't. But her Audi is a huge, party animal. They go to book clubs. They have all these interests, and you're like, oh my god, like I like you. Like you would never see that person.
Sure,
You would never get to understand, that they're not their work self. Because I've worked with people who I would never, ever want to hang out with outside because I see how they work. They're just not the person. I can't see how we friends. But I had a situation where I caught one of them, okay, at a karaoke bar, okay,
Oh,
having the time of her life, and I was like, oh no, like you can sing, like you like, I was like, you like Britney Spears, like you like music, like I legit was like, I need to talk to you because at work. This person, it was, type A. All they did was work. They didn't really go out to any like events, because the events is where you mingle with your coworkers, you get to know them as individuals. They just worked. Like, and then she was so strict about it where like she made other people feel like they weren't working. She kind of was that person, or the person you could say that the kid in school who, the teacher forgot about the homework. So everyone's like, yo, don't say nothing. The teacher don't know we got homework. And they're just like, oh, did we have an assignment? She was that kind of person. So
I know what you mean.
yeah, so after work, when I just like stumbled upon her having fun, I really got to know her. Like we talked and we hung out like all night. And I was like, oh my God, like you actually, in my head, I was like, you actually have a personality. Like you're really cool. Like I like you. And we swapped Instagrams and I still talk to her to this day. Well, she has my number. Like we text each other. I think last week we even got coffee because she takes piano classes. So to not piano classes. She does yoga. I have another program that does piano classes. She does yoga. So we hung out. I would have never had that opportunity if I was severed. You see what I
See,
mean?
you see, that's kind of my question here, though, is did that, once you guys actually got kind of cool, did that change your work relationship at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah.
Because you
Oh
saw her
yeah.
in a different light, and she
Oh
saw
yeah.
her in a different light.
Did it change her work relationship with everybody else or just with you?
I would say just for me. I don't. I don't. I don't. I mean, I just know that the day after, when we got back into the office, she smiled at me. She invited me to lunch. We tag team on an assignment. It was great. Um,
And she was still kind of mean and telling teacher about the homework for everybody else. You're the only one who got a special treatment.
I guess I was special. I guess.
It was
I
like
guess I was
that
special.
wall came down.
Basically.
That similar thing happened to me. I feel like once people saw me in a different light, they're like, I don't know who this person is. Like, how come you don't show it at work? And it was because I was afraid to, and I feel like it was only something that I thought would be appropriate if someone knew me outside of work. I didn't think that it was something I could share. And that's when I started to slowly open up and say, well, there's aspects of me that I can share in a
Mm-hmm.
environment that's work related. But when you get to really know me, that's when you get to see everything else. But that's why I said that there is a work persona that you have, and then everything else that comes with you is outside, because people have to get past that work persona if you want them to be your personal friend. So for me, if I see how they work and how they carry themselves, that's a thing for me to say, well, I don't know if I want to be friends with you if you act a certain way. Because I've met people who, when you work with them, they're just the meanest, nastiest person you could think of. But then outside, they're all friendly and nice. And I'm like, there has to be something in your personal life that when I get to really know you, I'm going to see this again. So I feel like it's one of those antennas go up and say, I see how you are at work. It's just a matter of time before I see this person again in your real life. So I already know
Exactly.
who I'm dealing with by working with you a little bit, because you spent half the time, well, most of your time at work, and this just popped into my head that being severed means that you don't get to experience every waking minute anymore. You just get the limited time that you have unsevered.
That's the same thing as being asleep.
So
Huh?
you're creating less of a life that you experience. You're
Yeah.
intentionally restricting it on the hope that whatever, because the thing is that they're severed, but they're not fixing their outies. They're still in these depressed states.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly the same thing as being asleep. That's like saying that I wanted to know more about who I am in my dreams, but since I
But
always
you never
forget,
know.
exactly, you always forget your
Yeah.
dreams, just like you always forget your workday. Are you gonna stop sleeping now so that way you don't have to share your any with your outie as a
Well,
dreaming person?
the
Oh
person that
God.
lives in my dreams is living good. The things that my mind visualizes, I'm like,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
what?
My
so
dreams
you know
be
my
my dreams be on
dream
fire.
person. He's a superhero.
My
He's a
dreams be on
Captain
fire.
America and Angelina Jolie.
Hell yeah. My
You
dreams
with
they
Basically,
be.
Angelina Jolie?
no, the one from Salt, the fucking
Oh,
CIA
oh,
agent, not like the
Oh.
actual celebrity.
oh.
Oh my God. I was like, hey,
No,
hold
I'm
up.
talking to Captain
Hold
America
up.
and Angelina Jolie, the actress. Clearly, we were fighting space aliens.
Okay, okay, I
I mean,
understand.
Oh my
but yeah, I don't get
God.
to meet that guy. I don't get to be like, oh man, I can't
But
wait
would you
to.
want to though? That's the thing. It's like,
I
Oh,
want
you
to
but
know,
you
meet
don't
him to
th-
punch him in the face. He's living a way better life than
No,
me.
you don't
But
care. Remember, you said I don't want to
you
know
say
what
you don't
happened
want
to
to
my work,
know.
because you're thinking your Audi is gonna be just like how you are. So your Indy's gonna be just like how you are in your Audi, but you may be surprised to
that's what I'm
know
saying.
that he's this social butterfly. He has all the friends, and then when you come home, you're like, man, my Indy's just doing work, and I have all this to myself. But you're not changing your experiences when you're in Audi. You just assume that doing this is gonna just prevent work from bleeding in, but you're not improving your Audi life in any way.
Right, but
So
I
how is
Mm-hmm.
can't.
that? How is severance bettering your life? Explain.
Severance
Yes.
gives me the opportunity to start working on my life
Then,
without
but they
thinking
never
about.
do.
Right,
They
that's
never
on them.
do.
They're not taking that opportunity. And actually, Severance proves it does work because those Audis are living terrible lives. Mark is depressed. Irving is depressed. And what do? Their innies are all happy
But the
until
outies are in control.
Helen shows up. But until then, they're all happy. They're friends. They're shucking around, jiving, having a good time. Dylan's killing it in macro data refinement, and Irving is finding love, wandering through the hallways. All of them are happier than their outies. All you're saying is that the innies should be switching places with the outies so they can go live nice lives while the outies, who
It's
are all
because,
depressed, work.
like you said, they take away all of the negative things that you experience, like the nurturing side, things that helped you build your personality. So if you went through something traumatic and now you're scared of something, their any doesn't have that reference anymore, so they don't have to be scared of something.
Exactly. So in Severance, I'm doing my innie a favor. He doesn't have to worry about embarrassing
But
high
you
school
still
stories.
have to worry about it.
Yeah, and I have the time to because I'm not at work all day.
Yeah, but are you going to improve that now that you don't have to worry about work impacting that ability?
I
Yeah.
sure hope so. Otherwise, I'm not going to drag my Outie to his party job every day.
But how would you know what to do? How would you know what steps to take if, you never experienced it as the innie? Like how would you know?
Now that I am experiencing work without being severed, do I know how to fix my life? So what changes when I'm severed?
That's the question I'm posing to you. You said severance is going to make your life better because you're not going to have to worry about work bleeding into your personal, because you think that part of your life, you working is going to somehow impact your personal life. It could be because you're stressed out, things that happen at work, you get angry, that carries over. You say you don't want none of that, so you separate it.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do now as an outie to know that you don't have to worry about other stresses that could impact your happiness, your level of excitement about life?
Now that I'm not worried about work stresses, work relationships, interpersonal problems.
You don't have to worry about that. You're doing a great job.
I'm going to have a beer. I'm happy as hell.
Oh my God.
Most of the people that do the severance
are not.
I'm going to go to the
not happy.
Right. That's a decision they're making, right?
Oh God.
Look at this. Mark is so depressed about his wife. He gets severed and he starts dating the doula, and everything would be fine, but he screws it up. And then the doula gives him a second chance. And again, he has all the time in the world to fix things. He goes and lies to her and screws it up again. That's a decision he's making. And he's not making it because he's worried about his job or anything. He's just got no game.
Oh my God.
But he has all the time and energy to fix that. He's not stressed about his work. He's not worried about anything. And he actually does enjoy the conversations he has with his sister. And he's eager to become a sarcastic uncle. So he has things that he can actually pursue. He's not pursuing them because he's making that struggle in his life right now. But it's not lessened by him being severed, but it also isn't being made worse by him being severed. If he was also stacking work stress and everything else, in fact, Mark only gets severed because he tries to go back to work as a teacher and he can't manage it while he feels the way he does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He can't continue on after his wife's death. It was too hard.
So getting severed at least gave him the ability to work without worrying about the stress. But he was
still very emotional. I think he only started to improve once he felt he had a purpose.
Mm-hmm. No, he started to improve. He started to improve once he had someone he felt like he could openly talk to, and that was the doula. And then he screwed it up because Petey was like, "Reintegrate, my brain's melting." Literally, Mark was on the path to getting better, and then Petey said, "Hey, Mark, think about what's happening at work." And he went down the spiral again.
I could see.
If Peter had left him alone,
stop thinking about work.
He'd be loving that black girl. We'd see some biracial love, and he'd be doing good.
Okay. Well, okay. I'll give you one brownie point for that.
You'll take it upon yourself to better yourself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Lord. Right. So we didn't talk about other people who've gotten the severance. So, there was a lady in a character in the show who got severed because she didn't want to experience childbirth. So there's people who get severed not just because they want to work and not work. There are people who got severed because, Lord, pausing. Got a cat.
Uh-uh. Who is it? Loki.
It's Loki. Yep, Loki. Get down. Hey. Sir, listen. Stop. Okay, back. He was about to walk on the laptop and everything. Cut the
Oh,
whole
okay.
stream off. Um, but yeah, like she got severed because she didn't want to experience childbirth, but that caused her to not be able to love the child. Like she didn't experience any of that. Like yes, she didn't experience pushing out, but was kind of like the child was not like necessarily hers. Like she kind of was she kind of separated herself from being a mother.
Yeah,
Um
which is a whole thing into itself because I don't think she's very connected to her children at all.
See,
mhm.
I kind of interpreted that differently. I don't think she was, and don't ask me how because I can't fathom how they would have pulled this off. I don't think she was severed just for the birthing process. I think she missed the whole pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing. She didn't and that's
She just
why
like got the D, blacked out, and then woke up in a park with a baby she didn't know she was pregnant with.
I
yeah.
think maybe they did it once they realized she was pregnant. So maybe they when they went to the office, maybe Lumen has a doctor's office. I don't know.
I'm positive.
Yeah, they did. I hope in the second season though that they, cause like they glanced at this. They had her story, but the whole Lumen people were the entirety of the show. So we don't know if there were other people who got severed for procedure they didn't want to experience, or like in her case childbirth. So she didn't experience being pregnant. Like you said, she just woke up, had a kid, and was like very very disconnected to the child. She was like, what is this? And I was thinking, like, they're promoting Severance. They want this to be like a good thing. But then you have people who are saying this is bad. They, end it. Let's not do the Severance.
Hmm.
Do you think it's like her case is not the only case? Like, I wonder if there's more people who have gotten severed, and I wonder like the impact of that for this universe. Do you think that you think she's just not the? I don't think she's the only one. I think there's more people out there who got severed for whatever reason.
I think it's a
Um,
precursor.
yeah, I think so too. I
I think there's more
think
people.
No, I
yeah.
mean there could be other people that were guinea pigs, but I just find it I would find it strange that they would just do random testing on random folks that didn't know what they were signing up for. I think that this is a precursor to then say we need to expand severance and allow people to understand the benefits. I think that's what Kelly's program, you could say, is supposed to initiate to
Oh,
prove
we gonna talk about that now.
that
Okay.
severance can work and that it's something that we should be promoting to the populace. And the guinea pig could be the fact that a state is he a senator?
The Senate.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
senator was willing to volunteer his wife to say that on a small scale she is able to have multiple children and not have to bear the weight of dealing with the pregnancy, what comes with it, giving birth, maybe even postpartum. And then once all of that is passed, then you come right back. And this is something you talked about before, that maybe severance could be used to treat different ailments that would require something to happen in your brain, or all the things that we give people for medication. Maybe someone who's schizophrenic, maybe
Mm-hmm.
someone who has PTSD. I don't know if you want to talk about it since this is your thought, but
It was more the idea that used properly, right? Like not like what they're doing here, because there's some psychos
Okay.
out there.
Used properly. Okay. Okay.
Why would you just get the Italian pregnancy? But there was this concept of if they can aim severance at existing memories without wiping out all of the rest of them and leaving you a blank slate, then it could be used to remove certain traumas. Like somebody comes back from a war all messed up, but it's not like he's learned anything in that war that he genuinely needs to bring into his normal day-to-day life. And if he's not integrating back to the modern day, and I can't speak to any type of that situation whatsoever, but I could see this being used as a very blunt and very silly tool to resolve that. Just blink out the war. Just he doesn't
Mm.
have anything he learned out there that's going to be useful to him here. He did his service, let him come home without the scars of that service on his mind.
Mm. That's
Right?
deep.
I could see somebody just using Severance to skip labor because you want to bond with the pregnancy, you want to feel the belly, you want to have little headphones because you think your baby likes Tupac even in the utero. That's fine. You want to have that part of the bonding. I don't know how much bonding is the actual part where your abdominal muscles are splitting in half because the baby is pushing against it all the
Or
way
your
out of your.
labia rips.
Yeah, I don't know if
Oh
that
God.
part.
Yeah, yeah. We won't talk about that. We won't talk about
Um,
that.
I
Yeah.
am not qualified to speak on that whatsoever as a
I've heard
man
so
and
many
as a person
stories.
not
Oof.
capable of getting pregnant, and as a whole bunch of other things. So I don't know how much bonding is in labor, but I feel like some people would skip it. I think the option should at least exist, right? We're not running up at people with syringes of forget-me-not pills and jamming it into their head against their will. But if someone wants to skip it, give
Yeah.
them the
I can
brain equivalent
see.
of an.
I can
This
see
sounds like
how, that could be a thing, great promotion for Severance though. Your whatever what you said, it would be great.
I certainly want to remember every fist fight I've ever lost, right? You can get those out of
God.
there.
Yeah, like it's great promotion for the procedure. Good job. And then especially because like I think if Helen, we're gonna talk about her. Um, she did it voluntarily. She signed up to do it as a way to show everybody that Severance is the way to go. Severance is great. Um, she ends up, and this is the part where I had to like rewatch, because in the beginning they asked they asked her who she was. She didn't know who she was. She ended up being the you could say legacy of the company. She was not the CEO, but like she was his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was his daughter. So she was, this is her legacy, Um and she went in there to show everybody that this is good. Like Severance is the way to go. Do you want to be severed? I got it. Like but her Annie didn't know this plan and was, trying all the everything and to rebel. And started they put a plan together to, I think they had like, it was a party. They had a party where they're going to promote Severance, and it's kind of like a gala, like a charity event for Lumen. And what ended up happening was and this goes back to the incentives that we discussed, they ended up hitting a quota and working overtime and everything, and got invited to that's why they had the party, because they met their quota and everything, and
Yeah,
they were,
Dylan got the party. Waffle party.
Yes. Yeah, Dylan got the waffle party. He got the waffle party, yes. Good on Dylan. But yeah, they because they met their quota, they have this party and everything. But what ended up happening is the innies end up going outside in the Audi. I don't remember how they did it because there was a switch, right? In the
Yeah,
computer
Dylan had to
room.
get the security
Dylan
switch.
had to do the security switch, and they were able to actually go into the real world and interact with people who are out there. And she ends up saying that this is not good. It was like a whole thing, like uh uh Patricia
They're at a
Arquette's
gala or
character.
something. Yeah.
How what?
They're at a gala or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a celebration. Yeah, it was like a charity gala, because they met their quota, so they were celebrating, and they wanted to show everybody that Severance was a good place to good procedure to have. It was great, and Helen ended up. It was really Helen's party. like she was like the guest star, or like the yeah, she was like the guest star, like the person they were really celebrating.
Mhm.
So she ended up speaking and was telling them like, we're not happy here. This is not good. This is not okay.
Mhm.
And started causing everyone to have all this like, what's going on? Like she crazy? It was da, 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 da. What did y'all think about the? What y'all think about the? You know, I'm talking about the ending basically. What did y'all think about the whole climax? Like, did y'all like how it ended? I enjoyed it. It kind of gave me I wanted to walk around and prance. I kind of was just like, oh my god, they're gonna get caught, like nail biting moment for me. That whole entire experience, like the whole, it was kind of like Mission Impossible 007 type thing for me. Did y'all feel the same?
I think I was more on edge about what their lives were and how they were going to react once their innies were activated. So it was very interesting that severance could be triggered remotely. I thought it could only be triggered once the person was in the building. So the concept of severance being a remote flick of a switch is crazy. And they found that out after a freak, you could say a freak moment because of something that Dylan took that needed to be returned right away. So once they devised the plan and said they're going to do this and they're going to try to get out there and see what their Audi is like and figure out, you know, what's really going on that they have no concept of, they all ended up doing different things, and it was interesting to see what their lives would be like and how they would react. Like Mark seemed to be flowing okay. He wasn't sure if this lady was his wife or his sister. It was just very interesting to see how they would interact. And Irving's character seemed to already be doing a lot of investigation into Severance to figure
Yeah,
out
he
what
had
she
like articles
on.
and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
snippets. He was doing research.
But what I really wanted to know what Dylan and Helly's life
Oh
was like,
yeah.
but they didn't really capture Dylan after that little introspective look when he was when the switch was flicked to turn on his chip. But I was completely shocked when I realized that Helly was an Egan. I was like, oh my god. I was like, and as I started looking back at the episodes, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Milchek was like, when I heard you were coming, it was kind of like a gift or a prayer. I can't remember what he said, but it started to make sense that it was bigger than her. That's why it was so important that she stay in the program no matter what
That
she
she
did.
makes it
You would think
work.
they would have just said, you know what, it's not working out. We can't do this anymore. But they were really pushing for it.
Yep.
And now it made complete sense. It was just a shock that not only did she hate it, but now she has to realize that removing all of the things that she grew up hearing and understanding and believing to be true, now her innie stripped of all of that has to now realize that she's part of this, and she reads that break room statement, and I thought that that was also very powerful, the fact that she feels now that she is sorry because she's the reason why she's there and why others are suffering.
Yep.
I I think it's a masterclass in tension. Like that whole moment, you're just like on the edge of your seat. The moment they turn on and they're just trying to get their bearings as to where they all are. Mark screwing everything up by calling Mrs. Selvig Miss Cobell and
Yes.
just
Oh my
keeping
god.
everything
I was
all.
Yep.
screaming. I was
I was like, shut up,
screaming.
shut up, shut up, shut up.
I was like,
And then
you
he's
are giving it away. And she was like, didn't she, like, she snitched on them? Like
she,
she
yeah,
told that they were
'cause
out.
Hmm.
yeah, she's the one who calls Milchek, and
Yep.
then Milchek goes sprinting at Dylan, promising football scholarship there. Uh,
Tackled him down and everything. Just like, whoosh.
and Helly does her best to shout into the masses that they need help and that they're being tortured. Um,
And they all look at her like she crazy. They're like, who this? Who, what?
um, man, they're just gonna be like, it's a bit.
I have a feeling they're gonna find a way to turn it
They're just
around.
gonna wave it as a joke. They're gonna be like, "Ha, I fooled ya." Anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
severance is this wonderful thing we do in order to.
Do you think the season 2 premiere will take, like, because sometimes what TV shows like to do, they like to jump ahead in time. Do you
They're gonna
think they're gonna jump ahead in time, or do you think they're gonna be like,
I
like
think you're right.
I hope they do like a little glimpse of what happened at the gala, and then show us the aftermath, like the effects of what they did and everything, and more deeper though, more than they showed us. I don't want to jump. I want to know more. I want to know more. Um, so I'm hoping that season 2 has like this big opening where it's like, um,
Previously, all
yeah, like, or like, even Helen, her Audi speaks out. Like I could see like a press conference and everything where she's like, my, Severance is great. And they show the footage of her out of her innie, you know, saying all these lies and everything, and really promoting Severance as a and then having other people get Severance. I feel like I want season 2 to expand on the Severance procedure, and we get to see different people getting it, and we get to leave the work area. We get to explore, like you were saying, someone, who's been to war gets severed so that they don't have to experience what they did overseas, I want to see I want season 2 to be about that. And like also more into Lumen, more into like, why them, like, is are they the only company doing it? Like, is there a competitor? Because I'm thinking more of like how Upload, how they had the 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 company doing it, right, and then they had like the bootleg version. Like I'm just thinking like beyond Lumen. I want to see they expand the universe. Yeah,
um,
like that's how I think season 2 should go. I want to expand the universe
I can't
of.
wait till like they lose the patent and then you have like a crappy Walgreens brand Severance.
Yes, I want to see it. I want to
why
see it.
Walgreens? Why them?
Because I hate
And the
the
Um,
side
speed is
effects. I want to see the side effects of Severance.
I think it's hard to pick up where they left off at the beginning of season 2 because I feel like everybody's fired. I don't think that they can
Everybody's
continue
fired.
working now that they know that innies have an understanding of the outside world. They're gonna come back knowing what nonsense they saw, which is Mark knowing that his wife is still alive.
absolutely not.
The
They're all
fact
going to
that the
testify.
fact that Helly knows
No.
that she's an Egan. The fact that Dylan knows that he's a father. The fact that Irving knows about his love interest at work. I feel like there's no way for them to continue the charade that they were putting on secretly, plotting behind the scenes to figure out what's going on. I don't think they're going to have an opportunity to continue working there. So I feel like they're going to have to backtrack a bit and maybe talk about what reintegration looks like. Maybe some of the things that people are doing outside. Maybe we learn. Maybe there's a more to what Mrs. Cobell or Mrs. Selvig is doing. Is she really out for herself, or is she part of something bigger? Is Helly a part of something bigger? Is because her defiance from the beginning is just really shocking to me. I can't tell if it's because she has a clear head and she just sees it for what it is, because she doesn't have anything burdening her in the outie
Mhm.
world, or she's a part of a secret society trying to break Severus down from the inside out.
Mm.
So I feel like there's gonna be a lot of let's dig deeper into some of the things that people are looking to figure out before we come back, because I feel like how could they still work there? They can't put them in the break room forever. They'll still gonna come out being equally as defiant because they know
What's out
what
there?
they're able to accomplish so far. They
Do
can't keep
you
them in jail.
You also
do
can't
you
really let them go walking around out there either,
yeah. Do you think
shouting.
that they would, so
They're
it's
still
either two ways they could do this. They could do the reintegration where they get rid of the severed part. They get rid of the any, basically retire them. Um, but they still need to make money and have a life. So how are they going to provide for themselves? So that's that. Or they could introduce like a way to fix it where like they go back under and they get the procedure done again.
How they re-trigger Severance so they have another
Yeah,
blank.
yeah. They're kind of like a lobotomy. Where yeah, like I witnessed. I could see the show. I could see the show going that deep, go that darker, where they undergo the procedure again, but it's like it's more it's like a 2.0 type deal where all the events that happened at Lumen goes away and they wake up and they go back to work not knowing anything they did at Lumen. Even Helen not knowing anything they did. All the stuff that happened in season 1 go away. And then I could see the characters later on in the season realizing that they start getting feet like memories. They start like stuff start to happen that triggers memories where they're like, oh no, like I what we did what, and then they start to remember what happened and they rebel. I could see that happening as well.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Either way, I'm very interested. I'm hoping the writer's strike that I believe was just where there was a resolution that came together. I'm hoping that if there was any delays with that, I hope season 2 is on its way because I'm really looking forward to the continuation of the story and seeing where it goes. I'm very invested, as you can hear. We're very invested.
Yeah.
We love the show. We're so thirsty. We're digging for things that probably
Y'all
don't have.
digging, dude. Y'all doing
Digging,
research.
we're digging a hole
Oh my god,
trying
that's
to
why
get
I
to
got
the
y'all
other
on
side.
here. Cause I didn't dig. Like I watched it, but I didn't like Google anything. I feel like I need to like I want to watch. I was avoiding those like reaction videos or like reviews or recaps and
Mhm.
stuff because I
Same.
wanted to come in to the podcast with my head, like my own thoughts. I didn't want to be influenced by anybody because this is one of those shows where we all have different opinions. We all think, we got one person who thinks Severance is amazing, and then we got one that's like, okay, maybe I could see myself, and then we got one that's like, nah, I can't do it. So we all bring different points of view to this to the show, different ways of interpreting what's going on, and I didn't want to be influenced by anybody's thoughts before coming in here. But I think now that we've done the podcast and we've discussed it, that I will go back and watch those reviews, and maybe there's people who have discovered something that we didn't touch upon. It'd be interesting to see like the different theories that goes that people have for the show, because it is one of those shows that is like thought provoking. It's a lot of like it really gets you thinking, and it's to warn y'all. I hope we entice y'all to watch it, but it is one of the shows that's a slow burn, in the beginning, but it pays off in the end. So it's not a show that has a lot of action and a lot of movement going on. I know people are they like shows that do a lot of that, but it's not a drama. Is in my opinion, it's more of a suspense. More of a is you could kind of put this in science fiction if you wanted to. I said that this was more of like I can see this as a Twilight Zone episode. Is one of those. I can even see this as a Black Mirror episode. I wouldn't be surprised if like they did like a replica episode in of this in a later season. Is one of those shows that like it can be in those categories. Um, and I have enjoyed watching it. Um, I didn't think I was going to be honest, but I did. I had a
Uh-oh.
good time.
I didn't think it was a slow burn. I was hooked from the first episode.
Really? Oh, I thought it was slow. I was like, because you told me about the show, and I didn't have Apple TV, so I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. But the way you explained it to me, I was like, okay, I'll get Apple TV and I'll watch it. And I'm one of those people who like action shows. Like I like the sci-fi. I like the weird. I like the mystery type shows. I watched the Twilight Zone last night. The one with Jordan Peele. I watched the episode last night. I like those things. So in the first episode, it kind of was like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch it and see where this goes. Okay, I'm watching it, and it did pay off. Like I thought it was a slow burn, in the beginning, because it didn't have all those like bells and whistles that other shows have. But as I watched more episodes, and as I I was having my popcorn. I was like, oh my god, what's happening now? I was like, let's watch this show. I really had a good time watching it. So thank you for introducing me to the show.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have for the podcast today. Do you have any last remarks about the show?
My last remark, so that's you.
I just want to ask, and you don't. There doesn't need to be context. It doesn't need to be a big old thing, but just your single favorite scene in the show.
The
We'll
dancing
start with you.
scene, the techno
Does it-
lights. They were
Alright,
having
you-
a grand old time. Yeah. I think they seemed their happiest in that
It
moment.
look. I'm telling you, man, it's not that bad down there. If you actually do your job.
As long as you drink the Cure Kool-Aid, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Music dance experience.
That
Got
is also. I couldn't stop laughing at that scene. It was just he was so into it, doing the shimmy. They had the maracas. He was
Yeah.
like, come on, I'm pulling you. Let's go. It was that scene, and I actually liked the episode where they go to the perpetuity wing. I just thought it was so revealing and very interesting, and it kind of opened the door to be like, yeah, this is a cult, and I'm interested. Not that I'm in a cult myself. I just always find studying cults to be something interesting.
It
So
really it is. It really is. Like
and
I
the perpetuity episode is a favorite.
Little
Okay.
Madame Tussauds statues of the Egan family. I was like, please, this is gonna follow people to their nightmares.
Yeah,
And
I
then whole
can.
ending when they meet their quota, and he's like, thank you, like you've done a great whatever he says, he's done a great service, and then he flies off into the distance like in Birdman. I was just like,
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
is going on?
So that's actually my favorite
Oh.
scene. It's she finishes the thing and it plays this little 8-bit video of Keir Egan. He's like, in finishing your job, you have bestowed the glory of Egan to me, and now I must away, for there are others in the world.
I
And
see.
then he flies off. The door, first he
So
gets
weird.
he smirks, and then he flies. That's so
Where he's
creepy.
like,
It really is.
I love you. And then he said the person's name, right? I love you, Helly R.
Oh no. So weird. So weird. But like people eat that stuff up though. Like I I like the occult stuff, true crime or everything that's like weird. I like watching. And I think that's why I like the show so much, because it was like creepy, but in a like I can't find a word, but in a under the, like there was some type of like shader. Like you didn't know exactly how weird it was. There was like undertones of it. Like different interpretations of these scenes of the show. That's why I was like intrigued to watch and like figure out the little. Oh,
Uh-oh.
okay. Try to figure out like the undertones of it, the secret meanings of the Easter eggs. I was trying to find those, and like that's I guess that's why I enjoyed the show so much. Like it kept me interested to know more about it, about these people, and the true meaning behind what it is to be severed. Um,
I I think what's supposed to be terrifying about Severance is, I mean, it is obviously a bad thing. You're cutting yourself off from your life for good or ill. You're still deciding, I'm just going to compartmentalize this and never deal with it for forever. And there's never anything perfect about something like that. But with all that said and done, it just still seems inviting. You know, when you think of like Texas Chainsaw or just Monster Man killing you, that's scary because who could possibly want that? And when you think of Severance, you're like, I guess I can see how some people might. Maybe it's not for me, but what if you're the only one?
yeah, yeah, this is very intriguing, to me. Um, when I was watching, it's like, could I possibly do this? Would I want to do this? Are people doing this? Like all these questions I was having for myself. I was watching this.
Like, imagine
Um,
sitting across from Hannibal Lecter and going, I guess you have a point.
yeah, like maybe it does taste good. I never tried it, but maybe I should. Type situation. Yeah, I really really like the show. Um, but yeah, thank you y'all for joining. Thank you.
Appreciate us having us.
Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
having us. I'm usually like muttering across the room from over her shoulder,
Oh,
and now
okay.
I got to be here. So
I
Yes, thank you
know.
to my special guest that came on and provided his thoughts and opinions. It's very
Yes.
engaging.
Very, very engaging. And thank you, y'all, for watching and listening along. As I mentioned before, this will be uploaded on YouTube immediately, but we'll be on Spotify later on. And those are for, if you want to listen along and relive the moment, relive our discussion. But yeah, if you're watching live, thank you so much for being here. Please, please, please like the stream, share the channel with your friends, share the podcast. I have a playlist of the podcast on YouTube. Share that with your friends. If there are if there are shows you want me to cover, let me know down in the comments. You could do that and in Spotify. I think you could leave like notes in Spotify as well. But yeah, let me know. Um, I definitely am very excited to. There's so many shows that are out there that this is one of the shows I wouldn't have watched until like my very good friend told me about it. But there's a lot of shows out there that I want to cover. So thank you for coming along with me on this journey of talking about the shows and hanging out. And there will be more discussions to come, more podcasts coming up. I believe the next one we'll be talking you. So if you watch you, tune in, definitely tune in because I finished the new season of you, and it's oh my god, I know people have stopped watching you at some point, but I continue to go and watch it, and I like the show. I plan on talking about Handmaids when the new season comes on. There's a show called From that I just finished as well. Um, there's so many shows out there,
Yep.
so definitely. And Black Mirror came out, like oh my god, there's so many shows we could just talk about and
Oh,
just
yeah,
geek
he just
on.
said that. So I
Yeah,
got to season 6.
yeah, season six just came out. Yeah, so I'm excited to see how many shows we can talk about, and just like keep this podcast going. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out and watching and tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Do you guys want to say bye to the live channel and hello, 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 hello? Welcome on in.
I see Britt in the chat.
I know.
Hey.
Hey girl, how you doing? Welcome on in. Yes. Oh,
Um, no, I don't have any more closing thoughts outside of what I said. It's great talking about a show that we love watching. We have watched it on repeat in preparing for this discussion, and we just like watching it in general. And very excited for the second season, and I look forward to more chats in the future.
Yeah.
How about you?
Like, comment, and subscribe to Hayes Lily TV. Follow her on all her
Yeah.
socials. If she is this fun to listen to and engage with, I don't know what else you'd be doing at this time.
Just do it. Do it.
Yes. Also,
Do it, get severed, and then do it again. Do it
yes.
severed.
And you know that, yeah, like and also rate the podcast on Spotify. I forgot to say that. Rate the podcast on Spotify. Do it now. Do it now. But yeah, that's it. That's it. Thank you for coming, y'all. It was a blast.
Peace out.
Yes.
Be good.
All right. Bye, y'all. Dude, I'm gonna have like podcast like ending music coming soon. Like, I don't know, but bye. Enjoy the rest of your day when you're watching this or listening along. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening, whenever you're watching this, where podcasts are sold. Or,
Happy Juneteenth.
yes, happy Juneteenth. That's tomorrow. Yes, happy Juneteenth. Oh my God, Father's Day. Oh, this was filmed, recorded on Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We did not forget y'all. Yes. I called my dad today, and he slept on Father's Day. Like, that's all he did. He slept. And I was like, why'd you sleep all day? Like, he missed out on all the Father's Day deals. He just slept. But that's what he wanted to do. So, you know, he had a great Father's Day. I think I'm going to get him like a succulus because he has a plant collection. So I think I'm going to get him a succulus and bring it to him for his place. But yes, happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth to all. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
If I can find my mouse, Lord. All right, bye.